What's up, goobers? Good morning. It's good to see you all. Happy, actually it's afternoon. It's not the morning. It's the afternoon. It's 2 p.m. in the afternoon here. We were so close, Chad. We're inching closer every time. One day I will figure out how to do an intro to a stream that isn't me saying good morning Vietnam or saying it's morning when it's night. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure it out one day. One day. Anyway, how's everybody doing? It's Wednesday. It's Wednesday, my dudes. It's say my favorite line. CST. There are actually only 2 genders, goober and goobat. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote me on that. Well, I'm glad to hear you're doing well, Palix. Is your fortress still alive and well? You said a lot had happened. And hi, Ayumi Kurumi. And welcome in, Fira. Good to have you. Also, hello to Nate and Gwen. And thank you so much for the sub. That's 3 months at tier 1, Necro. Thank you. Thank you. And Rogue and Pope and Rainy and Robit. Also, Rogue, is it weird for me to say that I was thinking about you when I saw that Dallas was playing the Raiders and I was like, oh, you know, Yes, so many friends to watch me look. Not the Raiders. Wait, was it the Buccaneers? Wait, I thought it was the Raiders, wasn't it? Your fortress is not in a good state. I'm sorry to hear that. Did I get the team wrong, or are you saying, oh no, I hate them? No, yeah, no, Dallas crushed them. I went upstairs. Oh, okay. I went upstairs, like I came downstairs to get a snack and saw that Dallas was winning at 33 to I think 16 at the time, and I was like, yeah, I think Dallas has this like in the bag, dude. And my dad was like, yeah, but we gotta make sure that Dallas wins before we go to bed. And I was like, okay, have a good time. I mean, we all know Dallas is gonna win, but my parents were watching and rooting for Dallas largely because of Dak Prescott, who I believe went to Mississippi State. Dak Prescott College. Yeah, he played for MSU. And he's from Louisiana. He was born in Sulphur, Louisiana. That man's only a year older than me. He looks so much older than me, dude. Anyway, sorry for talking about football. I don't really even care about football. Aww. Your little lunch break. I was talking with my bestie Sam last night, and I was like, it's so funny to me that like my audience is largely grown people with jobs, and they just put me on, and they all are old enough to have jobs where they can just put me on a monitor or watch me during their lunch break, and their lunch break is like a normal amount of time and everything, so the stress of sports will age you like a motherfucker. Well, I was Rogue, Rogue, I told my parents about you. I was telling them that I have a chatter who does sports betting, and I didn't like tell them about you. I guess I just mentioned that I have a chatter who does sports betting, and my dad goes just deadpan. He's like, yeah, I refuse to learn how it works because then I will believe that I can make it work. He refuses to learn how sports betting works because he's going to bet if he learns how it works. You're waiting at an airport? Oh. He is. I mean, my mom, she will only buy a ticket for the Powerball if it's over $1 billion. And I was talking with her and I was like, you know, while I was brushing my teeth last night, I was thinking about you buying a lottery ticket. And if you won $1 billion, I thought really hard about how much I'd ask you for. And I concluded that $5 million was a pretty good ask. Like that, I think was enough to ask for. Didn't feel really greedy, felt good. Felt like more than enough for me to live on for the rest of my life. And she was like, oh, for a split second, I thought that was half. And I was okay with you asking for that much. And I was like, you mean I could have asked for $500 million? And she was like, yeah, you probably could have. And I was like, I felt really good about only asking for $5 million. She hasn't won the lottery, but if she does, I'm hopefully getting my $5 million, so. Yeah. She's really fun. She's the person that I've gotten the outline of a good life for me is having my partner worry about the money, because my mom just doesn't worry about it. It's nice. Dude. If we all play the lottery and we split it, that'd be crazy. Oh, welcome on in, Dandelion. Yeah, I'm about to become the CEO of Python. Millionaire May arc win. Literally nothing will change except I will have my own home and I will be able to have health insurance. John Python. I think if I had $1 million, I would take $100 to a casino, but only if I had $1 million. You're right, $1 million isn't enough for health insurance. Alex said a couple of minutes ago, my Duke snapped, paralyzed a cat, and a carpenter is currently dying. Oh no. I'm excited to learn more about, I guess like Grimworld isn't exactly Dwarf Fortress, but it seems pretty similar, so I'm excited to try it. Today, sorry, I had to burp. Today, we'll be doing a little bit of yapping, very little, and then I'll be doing a free code camp course on Python. The funny thing is, I already have done quite a bit of this before, but on a different account. So I have a basic idea of how it works. But we're just going to be going through it and learning. The first one they have you do, the first, like, workshop they have you do is build a Caesar cipher, which is wild. So I definitely still need to do the introduction. I mean, a 1 million blackjack bet could easily be 2 million. That's how they get you, Rogue. That's how they get you. But Caesar salad, I'm cooked. Chicken Caesar salad? The chicken sees her? Does the chicken hear her? Sorry, that was a bit that I heard on Instagram Reels. So, oh, yes. My mom went to the grocery store this morning, and apparently everyone is out shopping today, according to her. And she got me some salad stuff, and I'm so excited to make myself a little salad. It's gonna be so good. It's gonna be so delicious. It's gonna be scrumdiddlyumptious. I'm pumped. So, yapping, a little bit of Python, and then we'll probably end with this game that I have called Paris, Transylvania that we'll play for maybe an hour. I've got to wrap it up probably around 6 or 7 tonight, so like 4 or 5 hours. Hi, Sheepy! Good to see you! And quite a bit of variety today. I need to play Paris, Transylvania because I got the key through Keymailer or Lurkit. I believe it was Mailer. No. That's Nookfall, which we still need to do. I got it through Lurkit. So yeah, I need to do that one because I want to make sure that I showcase it on stream. Oh! Do you guys remember that game? Oh! Windmills? Thank you so much for the sub! 3 months in a row, holy moly. A hen and a rooster in a restaurant. Oh, there it is. The chicken Caesar salad. Take me out back. Just do it. Just do it. That's too much. Oh. Oh yeah, remember, when coding, if and only if, then. Okay, thank you. But we have Paris, Transylvania, and then I got another game called Arcane Eats that looks really exciting. It's like a deck builder game. And you play ingredients cards into enchanted cooktops, modify them with a kitchen of magical tools, then serve your meals to hungry hordes and get paid. It looks really fun, looks really up my alley. I love a good deck builder. I also had such a good time playing Oxygen Not Included with you guys. I'm so excited to try RimWorld. I was talking with my bestie Sam about it, and he was like, yeah, I think it's a good idea to play games that, like, obviously you really, really like. Hi, Geo! 7 stream streak, thank you! You're completing a hobby of yours in 9 days? I'm sorry to hear you're stressed about it, though. The cat died, Palix? I'm so sorry, dude. Yeah. Well, you guys are technically watering yourselves, but I'll take being watered. I froze. It's okay. Thank you for the head pets, Necro. It was a different cat. Wild. Oh, speed cubing. I don't know anything about that. I can't even solve a Rubik's Cube. That'd be a fun thing to learn. Do any of you know how to solve a Rubik's Cube? Other than Sheepy, obviously. I feel like that's one of those, like, flex skills. Like, I'm always impressed when people know how to do it, but I've never taken the time to learn it. You learned? That's so impressive. Only there's like beginner, intermediate, advanced. Oh. I have one too. I've never really used it. I use it as a fidget toy sometimes. I have friends who can solve it, or I had friends in California who could solve it. Ooh, when you say algorithms, it sounds so fancy. You for sure knew it once. It feels like something that if you don't keep up, you're definitely gonna forget how to do it, you know? I feel like there are a lot of things like that in my life. My dad is honking the little horn on his Can-Am for some reason. My parents are so goofy, dude. But anyway. We were talking about Rubik's Cubes. Yeah. Basic algorithms are simple enough to learn in like 20 minutes. I feel like I've sat down to try and learn it, and then I was like, this is really complicated and hard, and I'd just rather have a hot man teach me or something. You do not just forget cubing. I didn't do it for 1 whole year. Yeah, but like, how much did you do it before then? You know, some people, some of us are good at forgetting things. Okay? It's a skill that we have, and we don't enjoy the fact that we have it, but by golly, is it a skill that we have? Yes. I'm really good at forgetting things. I forget birthdays, I forget what day of the week it is, I forget what time it is, I forget what I have to do that day, you know? If it's a skill we have, do we remember it? No. What did you say? I forgot already? Honestly, same. You guys have seen it in real time. I'll be talking about something, go off on a second tangent, and then someone comments on the first thing and I won't know what they're talking about. I can't remember anything that I've ever said in my life ever. What were we talking about? I think it's actually a good thing. You know, I'm good at forgiving and forgetting. I'm not really a grudge holder, personally. I'm much more of a hopes and dreams holder, you know? I'd much rather hold hopes and dreams than grudges. Toxic positivity. Okay, I'd like to apologize formally to everybody for that display that just happened. If I were to hold anything, I would really want it to be your hand. Oh. That's a flirt emoji? That's so funny. Sorry, I'll see myself out. Nah, get back here. Get back here. Each one of you is very important to this chat ecosystem. Ooh, 3 streams, Sheepy. Congrats. Yeah. I also was slightly early today. Thank you for the head pats. But I think it was like by 3 minutes. In bad shape. No ecosystems need all types. All kinds, you know? I keep burping very loud. I hope I do not catch any of that on tape. My word. Today is Wednesday. Wednesday. What did I do earlier this week? Well, hi Rainbow! Hot. No. It's not. But I'm glad you think so. Can I be the ecosystem scavenger who just sort of chills out 90% of the time? Yeah. Do I have any cool hobbies? I crochet. I worked on my mom's sweater wrap yesterday. I like to do paint by numbers sometimes. I don't know if that's considered cool. I've done diamond paintings before, but I almost always buy them from thrift stores. Because I don't think you should buy them new. They're very plastic heavy. I also knit. And I do this. I used to do live 2D rigging. I play tabletop role-playing games, and I make them sometimes. What else? I consider what I do with my bestie to be a hobby. I help him write his Hollywood movie, which is getting produced soon, and is very exciting, and I'm very excited about it. We'll have to have a showing of it in the Discord. Those are most of my hobbies. I also spin. I went to spin class yesterday. That was fun. Gwen, you should finish your tabletop game. Yeah, but I was so tired after I did my spin class yesterday that I basically did nothing else all day. Yeah, Palix, it sounds like things are not going well. Gwen, finish your tabletop game so people can play it. I also am very tired today, but it's also very hot today. I'm very hot, at least. It's like 80 degrees outside right now. It's crazy. So warm. Too much. Oh my gosh. You're killing me, Rainbow. We gotta hang out soon. We should hang out again. I like hanging out. Wow. No, I'm physically very warm and it makes me uncomfortable. I just need to put out an alpha already. Its core is like 90% done. That's more than the majority of like the majority of Ashcan editions that I see. Like, that's more than the majority of alphas that I see. You do kickboxing, Sheepy? That's pretty cool. Dang, Palix. Just sounds like things are not going well for you, dude. Sorry to hear that. I'm sorry, I keep yawning. Hi, Jaybird! I hope you're doing well. You know, I was really glad that people liked my Red Bull bit. I've been thinking about it like all weekend long. How funny I thought it was. Maybe I shouldn't think my own jokes are that funny, but I thought it was pretty good. I had a good time laughing about it. I even like told like 3 different people about it. I think Red Bull athletes are so cool. Man, I keep burping a lot. Crazy. I'm not really sure. I gotta turn on the air. Hold on. It's so warm up here. It says it's only like 75 up here or something, but it feels so hot right now. And I'm in like shorts and a t-shirt. We're doing RimWorld tomorrow. Time with my parents has been good. They're back for a few weeks, not a few weeks, for a few months, so I'll get to see them a lot more than previously, which will be nice. I'm excited to get to see them and hang out with them. So I think it'll be a fun time. Yeah, thank you for asking. I guess we could just get started with the Python. I'm not really sure how to do this. I'm trying something new today with this. You know, people were like, you should branch out, May. You should try new stuff. And so I'm trying new stuff, trying new weird stuff. I think the best way to say it is today's going to be like me reading stuff to you guys and talking about it a little bit. Bunk it, we ball. Oh, so hot. Fudge. Hold on. I have no idea how I got this warm. It's okay. I just, like, sometimes it really sneaks up on me. I think it's because my parents have had the doors open for the last 2 days, which has been fine downstairs because there's air and stuff, but I don't like to have the windows open when I'm streaming because I like to imagine that no one near me can hear me and just you guys hear me. So, holy... I haven't been this hot in quite a while either, so I think I'm just not used to it. Oh, it's just so uncomfortable. Like I'm sweating real bad. You're totally fine, Sheepy. You don't gotta let me know. But I do appreciate it. I do appreciate it. I just assume that most people have to head out at some point because I'm such a weird American time zone. I have a question. I was watching some of your older shorts on YouTube. Do you still have the nunchuck keyboard or use it? It actually sits right next to my computer, up on some like shelves on my wall. Hey, Esmad, I'm doing well. I hope you're doing well too. I'm checking to see if there's a category for coding, but it doesn't look like it. I'll take being cold over being hot any day. Any day. I survive it so much better. When I'm hot, I get angry when I'm hot. I get like frustrated. When I'm cold, I just want to snuggle up. Is there? Oh, software and game development. Okay. There we go. Yes. Okay. So what is Python and some common uses in the industry? Again, this is going to be mostly me reading stuff to you today, so I hope everyone's ready to vibe out and comment on the absurdity of coding languages. You're a tropical baby? Oh, you're a little tropical baby. A little baby from the tropics. Oh, some magic. Nice, I didn't know you were into magic. I'm not, but I have friends that are. Hi, Star, welcome in. Good to see you. Okay. Python is a general-purpose programming language known for its simplicity and ease of use. Hi, Lossel. This ease of use has made Python the most popular programming language in modern times. In 2024, Python officially surpassed JavaScript as the most popular language on GitHub. Python is used in many fields like data science and machine learning, web development, scripting and automation, embedded systems, IoT, which is the Internet of Things, and much more. Python is the main language that most data scientists and machine learning engineers currently use. Libraries like Pandas and NumPy make data analysis less tedious, while others like TensorFlow and Scikit make machine learning and working with AI models much more accessible. In web development, Python frameworks like Django, FastAPI, and Flask let developers build scalable and secure backends with minimal effort. Many social media platforms like Instagram and Pinterest use Python on the backend. Cybersecurity professionals and ethical hackers use Python to detect vulnerabilities like malware and other viruses, build automated security scans, and analyze threats. Python runs well on microcomputers like the Raspberry Pi and MicroPython compatible boards, so you can build all kinds of IoT or Internet of Things projects like smart home devices, weather monitoring stations, and more. Finally, one of Python's biggest strengths is automation. You can write simple scripts to help you with repetitive tasks like extracting data from spreadsheets, sending emails, and working with files on your local machine. Libraries like Selenium and Beautiful Soup make it easy to interact with websites so you can scrape public data, automate tasks through a web UI, and even manage cloud deployments for your projects. As you can see, Python is a very powerful language, and yet it's easy to learn. From simple automation scripts to large-scale industrial-level applications, you can use Python for just about anything. Python is a great choice for anyone who wants to learn programming, regardless of what they choose to specialize in later. There we go! Python, LOL. Ooh. Hi, Steema! 41 streams in a row, that's crazy! Yeah. Oh, no problem, Rolfie. So, I have used Pandas and a little bit of NumPy, I don't know why I said NumPy, before. Pandas makes everything into a data set, and data sets are like better spreadsheets in my opinion. And I actually own a Raspberry Pi. I think it's a Raspberry Pi 4, and it has a really tiny screen. It's really cute. I like it. One of the things that I've always wanted is like a cyber deck. Do you guys know what a cyber deck is? Okay. So this is sort of one, this is one like from Cyberpunk. I don't know, I've never played Cyberpunk, but they're like small small computers. I guess this is one of the coolest things that I've ever seen. I love this one. This is crazy, crazy nice. Here's one that looks really sick. This is some of the coolest stuff I've ever seen. Usually it's people taking very small computers, like Raspberry Pis, and making them into even smaller, or like very small shells, I guess is the best way to describe it. My favorite ones are the ones that are inside of briefcases. That's the most retro futuristic vibe shit I've ever seen. Yeah, it's so cool. It feels very retro futuristic. Like this. Would this not make an incredible case? The person said, let's see, sick case for a deck, shame the missus said no. And it's folks who are very into this sort of electronics building. Hi, Lightcore, good to see you. We're looking at cyber decks. I got kind of distracted because I just love talking about cyber decks as a concept. As somebody who built really... What are we, James Bond? Yes. As somebody who built really small keyboards, cyber decks have always interested me. Because they are just another very interesting way of creating often very small keyboards. Someone accidentally made a cyber deck. I feel like this is the stuff I really love, where everything is built in. It feels so hackerish, you know? I really am keyboard nerding out on Maine right now. I love keyboards. I love devices. Oh, some of the stuff that they print out. Let's see if we can find some of the most popular stuff on this subreddit. Pop. All time. Look at that. Look at how cool that is. We played them too many times. Compact Pi-based cyber deck with mechanical keyboard. Like, look at that! How is that not the coolest thing you've ever seen in your life? A 7-screen laptop? Like, how is this even working? I don't know, but I love it. It's so good. Got a little rolly wheel. The little BlackBerry button. Ugh. Look at that. That's straight out of the Jetsons. You can't tell me anything different. Feels like something Netrunner would use. I don't even know who Netrunner is, but like, so, yes. Look at that! Look at that! RPI dev Raspberry Pi development platform in progress. You know, someone was able to play Minecraft from a light bulb. I don't doubt it, dude. I feel like people are playing Minecraft with potatoes these days. I think somebody said handmade computer setup. Is this not like the sickest computer setup you've ever seen? Imagine having like chat over here, OBS down here, and then the game you're playing up here. I need that right now. This has a 7-hour battery life. This Look at that. Look at that. That's so cool. I made the Raspberry Pi recovery kit, a cyberdeck designed to be used as a portable network core. Hi, Volk. Good to see you. My keyboard, a fellow keyboard enjoyer has logged on. Okay, thankfully I have cooled off and I was able to turn the air off. You're okay, Vol. I'm glad you're here while I'm showing cyberdecks. That's crazy. I love that. Oh, I kind of love the exposed Raspberry Pi right here. The exposed microchip for the keyboard. You can see all the, come on, May, you know what these are called. You used to solder them. Transistors or something? I don't quite remember. It's been a long time since I've had to solder those specifically. I don't know. I kind of love the exposed parts of it. I guess that's for Wi-Fi, maybe? Diodes. Thank you. Yes, because they're not surface. I'm used to SMD, surface mount diodes. I know, the dust would be awful. That was also my second thought was, I love it, but the dust, really bad. That's why, like, even on most of my keyboards, even on the one where I don't have a screen because it's wireless, I have something covering the PCB so it's not gross. The only thing is I wish they had cut down on some of these side wires, but cyberdeck with built-in air compressor. Look at that. Ooh, I bet this is just a design concept. Ooh. The Dolch. Oh. Look at that. Look at that. That's the Elite C micro PCB, like tiny microcontroller. Hi, other Jolt. Hi, Ty. 20 stream streak. That's crazy, Jolt. Thank you so much. I wonder what this is. I've never seen that before. Oh, wow. It looks like they probably are running something similar to a corn down here. It smells like a speaker. You're right. That does look like a speaker. Ooh. Your own fight pad. That sounds sick. A functional Fallout Pip-Boy. Ah. I love people's creativity. Look at that! Isn't that the most Mr. Robot type shit you ever seen, dude? Sometimes I just go on cyberdecks and I just have the best time, dude. Oh, nice. Look at that. Oh. This is gorgeous. This was my first go at a cyberdeck. I knew nothing about Linux, wiring switches, calculating amps, or what a zim file was, but I got a 3D printer and I get seasonal depression, so I wanted a challenge. Off-grid research engine. Dude, this is so cool. The switches? Oh. It says available offline, all of Wikipedia, GPS mapping, and 7,000 plus PDFs, which is crazy. I wonder how much it cost overall. The thing is, I desperately want to build one of these. I have no idea what I would ever do with it, you know? Like, I just want to own one because they look so cool. When would I ever use this? Hi, Bars, good to see you. The network switch is just extra. I mean, have you seen the entire thing? Is the entire thing not a little extra? I don't know. I feel like this whole subreddit's about being a little extra. Look at that! Scion palm top 7 months later with steampunk pin, mouse, and holster. What? That's sick! This person had a vision. Oh, good night, Sheepy. I hope you sleep well. What are you looking at? You're looking at Cyberdecks from Real World Cyberdecks. r/Cyberdeck. Screenless Cyberdeck. Okay. I'm not gonna lie, that just looked goofy as hell. But you know what? Good on him. Beige deck 1500. It's so clean though. How'd we get to talking about this? Oh, look at that. Ugh. Ugh. It's so good. Look at that one. It's so tiny. It's got the little, what is that, like a radio? You feel like a hacker extraordinaire with these. Making a cyber vibe text-only social network like it's 1987. Cyberspace.online. Huh. Ooh, look at that. That's clean. The giant batteries? I love that. Motorola WT4090 running Doom. Incredible. You always gotta ask, can it run Doom? First crack at it, pretty proud. You definitely should be pretty proud. That looks great. Looks so good. I'm still kind of in love with the exposed wiring. I do wish that it was covered in glass, but like, it's still pretty good. Look at that! There's something about the curved, I don't know, the curved monitor part there that's so cool. The curved monitor case, I guess. It's so retro futuristic. Oh, this is their second cyber deck. Oh, I love all the little accessories on it. Wow, that's so cool. A battery-powered portable PC. Oh. That looks so cool. Yeah, some of them really feel like they were built by engineers, and some of them feel like they were built by people that could have been engineers but weren't. Ugh, that looks so cool. Vertiscope Cyberdeck video footage. I love that keycap set. I have something very similar. Wow, wow, wow. Uh-oh. Old laptop repurposed for architecture work. That's so cool. The double screens on the laptop. I should build one of these as a comically overbuilt headphone driver. You should. You gotta build them just to be extra. That's what it feels like. Ugh, this is gorgeous. No, that was hot. That's so good. It's gigantic. It looks like a junk drawer. I think this is one of the best ones yet. It's got like a half a keyboard in it, dude. There's like twine off to the side. I don't even know what that is. Guess it's all for music. It might be a guitar case. It's shaped very strangely if it is, but maybe. Yeah, the pin board off to the side as a space filler. Internet/hotspot anywhere. 30,000 mAh battery. When Wi-Fi is not available, it uses LTE or 4G. So. MIDI music intensifies. NSYNC the other day, I was wondering like how they do botnets. I don't actually know. We're gonna learn something. I know today's Big Brain Day, so we're gonna learn something. A botnet is a network of compromised computers or devices called bots that are infected with malware and controlled remotely by a cyber criminal known as a bot herder. These bots work together to carry out large-scale malicious activities, including DDoS attacks, data theft, and spam distribution. Oh. I didn't know they were using other computers. Huh. That makes sense though. Okay, is that not one of the coolest things you've ever seen in your life? What the heck, dude? A cyber deck with four full HD screens, dual Raspberry Pi setup with active cooling, Linux Mint, and software KVM barrier. The 80s called, they want their laptop back. No, I want to keep it. That is, that's a corn. That's a type of corn keyboard. Well, that is a corn. That's a Cornelius. But it is a, corn using low profile chalks, probably. Probably the chalk corn. It's so wild that they used an elite. Well, actually, no. I started doing this too later on. I forgot about that. You use an elite C for the one that you plug in, and then you use the worst one for the one you don't plug in. I forgot about that. Phone-based cyber deck. Ooh. Whoa! Look at this one. This one looks so ergonomic. I also don't quite get how it might fold up. Running on its own power. Ooh. We're using red cherries? Get a better key switch. What does the Elite C do that a $2 Pro microclone doesn't? The the $2 Pro microclone, I've had this happen multiple times. When you plug in the USB-C, there's a very good chance that when you pull it out, it will just come off because the soldering is not done very well. Oh, these are corn, short for Cornelius. Yellow Gatorons are not the best Switch. I think I have the best Switch, but that's just me. So, but yeah, the Pro microclone are the USB-C is very likely to come off, and it's really annoying when they do because sometimes you can't solder them back on just because of the way that they break off. So that's why you use the more expensive Elite C for one side, the one that plugs into the computer, usually the left side. It's just a way to save money. We saw that one earlier. Also, ads are starting. When we come back from ads, we'll finish up answering the questions for this section of the Python thing. So I will be right back, my friends.
back.
And welcome back to you guys. Alright. So what libraries are commonly used for data analysis in Python? That's pandas and NumPy. How is Python used in embedded systems and Internet of Things? It runs on microcomputers like Raspberry Pi and compatible boards. TensorFlow and Scikit. Django Fast API.
Oh,
Some of those are Pokemon, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think NumPy is a Pokemon. Alright. In the last lesson, you learned what Python is and what you can do with it. Now let's look into how you can set up Python on your local machine. Okay, I already know how to do that. You go to python.org, right? Yeah. I don't know, I think it's a package file, right? No, it's an exe because it's on Windows. Okay, totally fine. Python is the evolution of Arbok or something? No, Python's a too normal name, dude. How do you declare variables and what are naming conventions to name variables? In Python, variables are like a labeled box for storing and referencing data of different types. To declare variables in Python, you assign value to an identifier with the assignment equal operator. You don't need to use special keywords like let or const in JavaScript or character in C#. Okay. In Python, you just write the name of the variable on the left, followed by the assignment operator and the value you want to assign to the variable on the right. Here's an example of how to declare name and age variables. Name is John Doe, age is 25. There's a seal. Yeah, but it's different. You know? Used Fortran for uni only? That's crazy. In the example above, the variable name holds the value John Doe. This value is a string, which is a series of characters used to represent text. Strings are written with single or double quotes, for example, hello or hello. In future lessons, you'll learn more about working with strings in Python. Okay. When naming variables in Python, there are some important rules you should keep in mind. Variable names can only start with a letter or an underscore, not a number. Variable names can only contain alphanumeric characters and underscores. Variable names are case sensitive. Age, and age are all considered unique. Variable names cannot be one of Python's reserved keywords such as if, class, or def. Just define. If you break any of those rules, your Python program will throw a syntax error. 5 variable underscore name equals 5. Okay, they can't start with a number. Okay. Let's go over some common naming conventions for variables in Python. First, variables should be in lowercase with separate words separated by an underscore. This is called snake case. My underscore variable underscore name equals free code camp. Next, you should use descriptive names for variables. For example, if you want to save a user's age as a variable, user underscore age is better than age or an abbreviation like UA. Okay? This way you can easily communicate the purpose of a variable to other team members or to your future self in a large code base. Another convention is to avoid using single-letter variable names. This is very common in Python, but should be avoided because variable names with a single letter communicate no purpose or meaning. X equals 56. What do you mean by X? Got it. This is different if you are in a loop or something similar, as variable names like I, J, K, and so on are common and acceptable. There's so many rules and then exceptions to rules, yada yada yada. Just tell me how to hack into the Pentagon. Just kidding. Also, the pound symbol in the text that follows in the example above is called a comment. You might already be familiar with comments, so let's go over them quickly and explain how they work. What are we programming? We're just learning. Camel case supremacy? What is camel case? Is it like that? Where it's all smushed together? In Python, comments start with the pound symbol and the language ignores everything after the pound symbol on that line. I do know how they work. Yes. We do it, how do you declare a variable in Python? You assign a value with the equals operator. Which of these is not a rule for naming variables? I think it's that one. Why should you avoid using single letter variable names? They do not communicate the purpose of the variable. Oh, they're case sensitive. I read that incorrectly. Camel case is something like this. Oh, wow. How does the print function work? I do know how the print function works. Can I just answer these? What is the purpose? I actually don't know what that would print. Okay, it would just print hello world. Got it. Oh, whoops. Why does the following code print all the variables on the same line with spaces? Because separating values with commas in print adds spaces to them? Incredible, I'm so good at this. Is this Code Academy? No, it's Free Code Camp. I've never used Code Academy. Have you used it? They just bug you. Got it. Python is a dynamically typed language like JavaScript, meaning you don't need to explicitly declare types for variables. The language knows what data type a variable is based on what you assign to it. Also, I want to check something real quick. Ah, you're back. Welcome back, Palix. Do I have this on my computer? I do. Why does it open here? Okay, so I have Jupyter Notebook. I do. Okay, come on. I have Jupyter Notebook, but this is not the Jupyter Notebook that I'm used to. Okay, I see why. Oh, incredible. Do you guys want to see a Python script that I tried writing one time 10 months ago? Let me make sure that... Yeah, everything should be good. Okay, so I was using Jupyter Notebook, which is what I'm used to for coding in pandas with Python. And I was attempting, this is such a nerd thing. I was attempting to get, okay, there's this, okay, on the Satisfactory wiki, they have a list of all the recipes, and I wanted to turn the list of recipes into basically something usable within a spreadsheet so that I could say how much of... I was basically trying to recode something that already exists, but within a spreadsheet because my brain likes that better. And I never got it to work, but I do understand the basics of Python pandas. I know how to work within a data frame. Trying to see what this other one is. I don't know what this is from. Oh, this is me. This is me also attempting to do that. Okay. So this is what I ended up being able to get, was this CSV. The issue is it wasn't laid out the way that I wanted. Your passion for spreadsheets needs to be studied. I mean, kind of, I think so. So the issue is that it is difficult. So within Google Sheets, you're able to split based on a what do they call it? A divider? We are learning about snakes. This is using data frames. Yeah, that's what I did. I dealt with this via data frame. Sorry, I don't think I can open this because it shows, I don't know, maybe it doesn't show anything weird. But let's see. Okay, so basically my issue was that I kept getting... Okay, so I had this long, complicated code that I wrote out. What I needed it to do was to clean up the min in this column, and for some reason I could not get... Yes, I couldn't get it to clean up the min within these columns. I'm not entirely sure why, because what I needed it to do was to basically say, okay, here's the item. It needs 1 magnetic generator, and it makes 4 per minute. And I needed that to be communicated in different columns so that I could have formulas that were dealing with how much I needed per minute and how much I would produce. Again, this is all, hi Axel, this is all coded in a number of different satisfactory related programs, but I was stubborn and instead decided to pull down everything on my own in an attempt to create the perfect CSV so that I could then put it into Google Sheets and use it for my factory. Because for some reason, my brain does not work with the satisfactory programs out there. You were just talking about this last night. I mean, I think it was Gwen earlier said that my passion for spreadsheets needs to be studied, and it's true. So anyway, that was one of my attempts with pandas. I've given this a try before. I just thought of that a minute ago because I was like, I know that I've used it before. The thing is, like, I have a lot more stuff, but it was all work related. So it's on my work. It was on my work laptop, and obviously I couldn't show it because it's proprietary company data. But anyway, I have used a lot of it before. Yeah, we do need to hang out again. I would be like, oh, there's X ore veins here, so I gotta limit it to whatever is this ratio. You must not have been that far along, Flan, because at a certain point you're like, okay, there's X number of ore veins within the entire map. I can route those ore veins via train to here. In order to do that, I need this many trains with this many cars running. Once I get all the material here, actually, you wouldn't run the ore veins directly there. You'd probably make it into at least one other thing. And so, like, that's not the wrong way to think about it. But then you also have to think about overclocking. Yeah, once you get to trains, your whole world opens up. You had to use pandas for your graduation project? It's what got me into data visualization. It was like the project at work that got me my other job, I think. So I think it mostly, I would simply move things with long treadmills. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little obsessed with spreadsheets. They make such, the data looks so nice when it's in a spreadsheet. It looks so beautiful when it's laid out like that. A good, well laid out, well formulated spreadsheet is like a beautiful woman. Just a joy to look at and be around. I love that I was like, I'm not a STEM person, and then I'll say stuff like that. Love that. Number good, number real good. I use it for a lot of data stuff too, or like qualitative data. All right, on to the next one. Python is a dynamically typed language like JavaScript, meaning you don't need to explicitly declare types for variables. The language knows what data type a variable is based on what you assign to it. Here are some examples. Name equals John Doe. Python knows this is a string. Age equals 25. Python knows this is an integer. How nice. I'm not a STEM person, but I also wonder what the minimum built factory looks like, as in someone who literally sets everything up so that it meets the bare minimum for what's needed and refuses to do more. Yeah, I think you'll find that actually in a lot of places. The issue is that most of us want to get the maximum out of it that we can. Hi, Mudkeep. So like, there's something in our brains that goes, well, if this can produce this many things, then why not build out this many machines? I think it's just like a human impulse, but it would be interesting to build a minimum factory. That would be a cool experiment. Building the absolute bare minimum and satisfactory to win. So this is in contrast to some statically typed languages like C#, Java, and C++, where you have to declare types with variables like this. String name equals John Doe, and age equals 25. My monkey brain demands perfect load balancing and satisfactory. Ooh. How well versed am I in Python, and also what compelled you to learn it? I have had an on and off again relationship with Python over the last few years. Like I was saying a little bit earlier, I used to use pandas for work projects because I worked as a data visualization person. So when I was doing a lot of data visualization, I did it in Power BI, but a lot of times what I would do is if I had a spreadsheet that wasn't going to update very often, or never updated, I would do a lot of my data cleanup on the initial numbers, especially if we were building a static dashboard for someone. I would do data cleanup using pandas because data frames are much easier to work with than spreadsheets when it comes to data cleanup. And it can work a lot faster. The main reason I used it for a while was to basically flip a spreadsheet. We had a really weird spreadsheet that we had to reverse the columns and rows with, but we had to do it in a very specific way, and it also resulted in it was how we got rid of bad applications or false applications in one of our application systems. And so it was a very big deal that it needed to be done correctly. So when I was coding it, I had no coding experience, and it was something that I had to have checked a number of different times. But it did end up working, and it was a very interesting and fun project. It made me very frustrated, but it also cut out 8 hours of work a week for me. So it was very necessary for me to learn. But the thing is, I learned all of that without understanding the basics of Python. So for the last like 3 or so years that I've worked with it, I don't know how a for loop works. And that's been one of my biggest hurdles, is that I'll hit a like specific part of Python and be like, I don't really get how this works. And I'll get very frustrated with it because you can't move on until you've like passed each section. So that's kind of my relationship with it. And see you later, Flan. Is that it's been on again, off again. So I've been compelled to learn it largely because I have a lot of STEM people in my chat, and also because one of the things with streaming that I want to do is try out a bunch of stuff, and I thought it would be interesting to have a day where like we try and learn something new together and just hang out while we do that. And maybe you already know it, maybe you don't, but I think it'll be a fun journey. You can make fun of me when I still don't understand for loops after trying to learn them for the 4th time, that sort of thing. Yeah, I start and stop, then start again, and something usually clicks between weeks or years later. Yeah. The thing is, I've never, other than work, I've never had projects that I wanted to do with it, except for that one Satisfactory project, but I stalled out on it because eventually I just couldn't figure out how to make it work. So, hey, I think we always gotta try new things. One of the ways that you kind of, my parents say this all the time, that they're sharks. If they stop moving, they die. And I feel very similarly, but especially in regards to learning new stuff. There you go. Do you think it's a lot easier since you've had to learn it a bunch of times? Or is it frustrating because you already know it, Mudkeep? Let's see. The dynamic typing nature of Python makes coding really fast and more flexible, but it can lead to unexpected bugs because type errors are detected only when a program runs, not when the program complies. Here are the most common data types you'll use in Python: integer, float, complex, string, boolean, set, dictionary, tuple, range, list, and none. Okay. Many other programming languages group data types broadly as either primitive or reference types. Primitive types are simple and immutable, meaning they can't be changed once declared. Reference types can hold multiple values and are either mutable or immutable. But Python doesn't draw a hard line between those two groups. Instead, all data gets treated as objects, and some objects are immutable while others are mutable. Lisp? I've heard of Lisp, yeah. In my opinion, that's one of the biggest helpful things with constructive skills, code building, shit, etc. It's having something you want to make. Sometimes my brain can't handle the step-by-step learning method, but also gets lost and overwhelmed without focus. That's the thing. I just like... One of the things that I've really struggled with lately, we're gonna pause for a second so I can have a deep talk with you guys, is that I struggle with whether or not I'm actually a creative person. And bear with me on this before you just go, Mae, you're creative, you're creative, you're creative. A lot of the stuff that I do is iterating on things that other people have done. I have ideas. I have thoughts. I like to make things. But I know that I thrive best when I am either following instructions or I'm emulating something that someone else has done. And there's also a part of me that's like, I just want to vibe and do whatever and not have to listen to instructions. But at the same time, like my John VTuber video, that was based off of another video. Creativity includes iterating on what's been done. Yeah, but I think maybe this is one of those comparison is the thief of joy things. But I often feel like there are people out there who are having truly original ideas. Not truly original, but they are far more original than the majority of the ideas that I have. And maybe that's not true. Yes, but the reason that I'm saying this is because when I was a writer, my ideas felt very my own. Nobody had to tell me how to write. Nobody needed to give me ideas on how to write. It just made sense to me. It clicked. I was good at it. I enjoyed it. It was something that was easy for me. I don't really have that spark anymore to write. It's not really what drives me. But when I look at something like Python and people are like, well, choose a project, have a project in mind. The thing is, I don't have a project in mind, and the projects that people present seem unhelpful, if that makes sense. They don't really capture my attention. I'm not really sure how to explain that. But like when I was writing, I didn't need people to tell me, go out and find something that you want to write. Find a writer that you enjoy and emulate them, or write a variation on a story. Whereas like with coding and with other science things, the ideas don't come very easily for me, even iterating on stuff that other people have done. So dating coding problems sounds cool. Yeah. That's sort of my issue too. I need a reason to want to learn something, otherwise the skill feels pointless to have. Yeah, I think maybe there's just a lack of need for it in my life. There are very few things that I want for on when it comes to the computer. And if I do want for it, most of the time, like, I will say I would like to know Python because I think it would be helpful in learning cybersecurity. Okay, if you were like, you can use Python to hack, then that is cool. I want to learn how to do that. And maybe Python actually isn't the language for me. If it isn't, tell me now, I'll switch languages. But I happen to have a semi background in it. Like the thing that I want to learn how to do is bash scripting, and I want to learn how to do command line stuff in Linux, and I want to know how to make a computer bend to my will, you know? One thing too is don't think a project has to be a full thing. If you just need to bulk rename clips, there's a project. Want to read a newsletter or something but tired of ads, there's a project. Yeah, like one time I did a project where I made that spreadsheet. Like, I know everything has to do with a spreadsheet with me, but like it's true. Let's see. So like if you look at my TTRPG tracking list here, you can see that like I have all of the game titles, and we talked about this before. There are over 1,000 game titles here. I didn't type these in. I used a script in Python to pull the names of the folders on my computer down so that the script basically wrote it into a spreadsheet for me, and then I could copy and paste it into this spreadsheet and then fill the rest in manually, because the rest of these things aren't tracked the same way that the name was. So, like, I've done little projects like that, but that's also pretty easy to figure out. I don't know. I didn't feel like I was learning a lot with that. I just was kind of messing around. And sick. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe Python just isn't the language for me because it has nothing to do with cybersecurity. But everything that I've read says that you should learn Python if you want to do cybersecurity. But I don't know. I'm quite uninterested in it generally, but like as it relates to cybersecurity, I'm very interested, but they don't tend to have that as like a way of learning Python. You know, does that make sense? Am I explaining myself well, or am I just kind of yelling into the void? A friend of mine hacked the website for a professional football/soccer team because it was poorly built and didn't even have countermeasures for SQL injection. In this day and age? That's crazy. In this house, we hate SQL injection. It definitely does help. A lot of Metasploit implementations are just Python. That's what I want to learn. That's what I want to learn. I don't care about learning about whether a data type is immutable or immutable. I don't care about object-oriented programming. I only care about how it relates to Metasploit implementations. That's what I want. Give me that. I want to learn about how it relates to that specifically. And the thing is, I don't want to use any of that. I just think it's really cool and want to know how it works. You know? No, don't tell me object-oriented programming is important to know. It stinks! It stinks! It's gross! All the guys who knew how to do object-oriented programming had degrees in computer data science. In computer science and data. I'm not that guy. I'm just a little guy who likes the humanities. I'm just a little guy. I'm just a little guy. Don't make me do object-oriented programming, please. What did I do to deserve that? No, don't. Not the object-oriented programming. Not the OOP. Yeah, you're sitting in your ivory tower studying maths, and that's just... it's not okay. It's not okay. Anyway, I'll suck it up and learn it anyway. Immutable data types can't be modified or altered once they're declared. You can point their variables at something new, which is called reassignment, but you can't change the original object itself by adding, removing, or replacing any of its elements. Examples of immutable data types in Python are string, integer, float, boolean, tuple, and range. Oh, so you mean most of them? Here's an example showing that while you can reassign a different string to a variable, direct modification of a string isn't allowed because strings are immutable. Greeting equals hi. Greeting equals hello. Print greeting. H. String error does not support item assignment. On the other hand, you can change mutable types without giving them a new name. You can add, remove, or update items where they live. Examples are a list and a dictionary. But OOP has factories? Status factories about billing. Oh, wait, hold on, kid. Object-oriented programming has factories? Nobody ever told me that. In my experience, a lot of hacking is understanding how others would write a feature, thus knowing specific ways to poke at a feature's security. So knowing object-oriented program gives a window into that. You mean I have to think like a tech bro? Hold on, I gotta go ghost a woman real quick. That was a bad joke, I'll try again. Not right now, but later. Here's an example of updating an element list. Hold on 1 second. To get the data of a variable, you can use the type function. And here are all the data types covered in this lesson. Oh. Hi, 2011! Here's weirdly that worked to convince me to try OOP. Object of power. That's all I can read when I say OOP. Working in an enterprise environment now, the answer is usually the laziest way. I could more than likely send a message to the data guys that I know and be like, hey, how would you classify all the ways that you write things? And they would probably say the easiest / laziest way. Like, having talked to a bunch of these guys, they're vibing most of the time. Oh, you can still add type hints. Note that unlike TypeScript, which enforces types at compile time, Python just uses these hints for static analysis, documentation, and editor support, not for enforcing types during runtime. This can help developers catch bugs early and improve code readability, especially in large products. Okay. That... Okay, so the questions were, what does it mean that Python is dynamically typed? Python automatically determines the data type based on the assigned value. What is the difference between integer and float data types? Integers are whole numbers without decimals, while floats are numbers with decimal points. These might be wrong. Let me just go through it. How can you check the data type of a variable in Python? By using the type function like type my variable. Oh, I did so good. Oh, hi Kusab, welcome on in. Glad to have you. Sorry, I was very focused on answering my questions correctly. She's correct. She's crazy. She understands. How do you work with strings? How do you do it, dude? Tell me. A string is a sequence of characters surrounded by either single or double quotation marks. Ooh. In some programming languages, characters surrounded by single quotes are treated differently than characters surrounded by double quotes. But in Python, we don't care. They're treated equally. So you can use either when working with strings. Here are some examples of strings. If you need a multi-line string, you can use triple double quotes or single quotes. Or triple single quotes, okay. If your string contains either single or double quotation marks, then you have two options. Use the opposite kind of quotes. That is, if your string contains single quotes, use double quotes to wrap the string and vice versa. Okay. Escape the single or double quotation marks in the string with the backslash. With this method, you can use either single or double quotation marks to wrap the string itself. Understood. I've always found the use of the word escape to be really funny. We gotta get out of here! Escape. You can also combine multiple strings together with the plus operator. This process is called string concatenation. Okay, I will say I am used to using concatenation because that's how it's done in Power BI, as well as in most of Microsoft's coding languages, or like most of Microsoft's stuff. That's how it's done. Hi Signal, welcome on in. The quote yearns for freedom. Let the quote out, dude. Let the quote out. So like if we get to the coding portion of this and you're like, May, why are you concatenating strings instead of, I don't know, being a normal person and using different quotes? It's because I'm so used to this from Power BI, but more specifically from Google Sheets and like Excel. So I don't know, sometimes like I didn't do a lot of I didn't use any VBA or anything. I knew a guy who used a lot of VBA. He was very cool. He was our Excel guy. He was a wizard with Excel. But I did enough in Excel in terms of cleanup and changing, and you guys know my love for Google Sheets, to where I tend to use concatenation rather than something else. I'm using Freight Code Camp. I've used them before to learn Python, but that was a while ago, and so I'm kind of refreshing on the basics. I do know that Code Academy, I think, is pretty good. Honestly, I feel like the best thing to do is to use more than one source, just because I think it's kind of like having more than one teacher. You're a wizard, Harry. where like some teachers explain stuff one way and some teachers explain things another way. And so, yeah. I'm a what? Hi! Welcome on in, Goofy. Yeah, so yeah, I'm a big fan of Free Code Camp actually. I've used them for something else before. What was it? I've done their responsive web design certification. I haven't gotten all the way through it before, but I do enjoy just the sheer amount of stuff they have on their website. Like in general. Start at the beginning. Yeah, because you start with like HTML and other stuff, which I've done, but I'm kind of a freak for PHP string interpolation, like literal and my... What? Wait, do they use and? Or is it the brackets that are concatenating it together? Definitely try a few things if you have the option. The very basics are very samey, but it helps you get into the bigger concepts. Yeah. I think when we hit for loops, I'm not kidding that for loops have haunted me for years because I just don't get how they work and I've never found an actual example that makes sense. This was my problem with math in school, is that it took me so long to figure out that like you have to have an example that makes sense to you personally. Like, I think that is what changed a lot of learning coding to me, because I was able to learn pandas because I had an example that worked for me. Like, I started to understand how data frames worked because I was working in data. And so, like, I just need to, like, find the for loop reason that makes sense to me. And the thing is, like, I feel like if I was into game development instead of tabletop role-playing game development, but regular game development, then I would honestly be able to learn it a bit easier. Because I feel like you have a lot of uses for stuff like that, but when you're just working with data, I don't know. I'm just, in life hard. I've tried to learn Python before, but I always want to jump to the good stuff right away, so I get bored with the basics. We were just talking about that, Signal, about how we're very like, we just want to like get into the good stuff. Why do I have to learn immutable versus mutable, etc., etc. Like, ugh. But I do know how important it is, and you gotta push yourself to do it, so. Anyway. Note that this only works with strings. If you try to concatenate a string with a number, you'll get a type error. Data is either dull or absolutely wild. Yes. There were times where like I was doing data visualization and I did not care about the data that I was visualizing. And then there were times that I was like, this is the most interesting thing that I've ever visualized. What do you mean that I can track worker productivity based on like 3 numbers and tell you whether or not someone is going to make mistakes in the future? Like, what do you mean I can recommend that someone redo training based on these 3 numbers? Like, there was some stuff that I was like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard. And then some of it I was like, this is so boring, I'm literally sleeping right now. Ugh. Let's see. This happens because Python does not automatically convert other data types like integers into strings when you concatenate them. Python requires all elements to be strings before it can concatenate them. To fix that, you convert the number into a string with the built-in string function. Easy. You can also use the augmented assignment operation for concatenation. Oh, thank you for the follow, Signal. This is represented by a plus and equals sign and performs both concatenation and assignment in one step. Here is it in action. Start with the name. Ooh, the plus equals. Oh. She did find out what the numbers mean. Apart from regular strings, Python also has a category of strings called F strings, which is short for formatted string literals. I honestly didn't know this, and I've worked in Python for a little while. Okay. It allows you to handle interpolation and also do some concatenation with a compact and readable syntax. F strings start with F, either lowercase or uppercase, before the quotes, and allow you to embed variables or expressions inside replacement fields indicated by curly brackets. Wait! Pears, is this what you were talking? Wait, was it Pears who brought up the... Who said they were a freak for... Yeah, the PHP string interpolation. Yeah, that's interesting. I always love it when someone's like, oh, it's like that in another coding language. Because, like, obviously it must work if it's in more than one, or at least it's, like, industry standard at that point. That reminds me of, did you guys know that you can just go and look at the emails that were sent by, the emails that were sent by the people who were making the internet? Don't know what I'm talking about? How did I find it in the first place? Okay, so basically when they were making the internet, they used to send, they were assigned, oh, I remember what this was. Okay, hold on. Okay, I wonder if I could find this. Okay, so I was learning about TCP and UDP port numbers. So when they were first assigning ports, there are emails. There's a guy that was the, they called him the czar of port numbers or something. Oh, I'm trying to, John Postel? Let me see. It's like they're available somewhere. You can read the original exchanges between the folks at USC when they were inventing the internet, and he calls himself the czar of port numbers at one point. John Postal. Not true. It's like, it just, there, I don't remember how to find the emails, but you can look through the original stuff that they were sending each other. No, they weren't emails. They were the original, so when you're establishing something on the internet, there's a protocol that's put out, and that protocol, but the protocol is called something. Come on, May, it's somewhere in your brain. It's basically, well, yeah, he died, but, you could email the inventor of email, yeah. You could have at some point, but they used to put out these, like, statements. God, why can't I remember this, dude? What are they called? Like, when you want to look at the current protocol for how UDP is done, you can request for comment. Oh, yes, it's a request for comment. RFC Yes, publication for the development standards of the internet, RFC. So if you type in John Postel Czar, maybe it'll come up. There's one where he's like, there's one that is just so funny to me and I wish I could find it. So here are all of the RFCs. You can browse them on RFC Editor. So, like, you can go and read request for comments 9,878. And you can read the whole thing, and it's basically them updating stuff about how the internet works. So like off to the side, it says RFC 9889, a realization of network slices for 5G networks using current IP/MPLS technologies. But you could just type in RFC 39. And you can just read that. You can just read this one if you want. This is the 39th request for comment ever created. The 39th. Like, I don't know why. I need you to understand how crazy this is. They were inventing the internet. They were inventing how it worked in these requests for comments, and you can go online and read them. Like, how sick is that, dude? How sick is that this information is out there? Like, I don't know. Hi, Hera, welcome in as I'm ranting about how cool RFCs are. I just think RFCs are like the coolest thing ever. I know that it's like in the 39s or 38s. I don't think there's an RFC 1, is there? There is! This was published in April of 1969. This is May just telling you about how cool everything is. I know! It's so wild. And this is them literally defining the basics of how the internet works. File links are distinguished by the fact that no searching for interrupt characters takes place and buffering techniques appropriate for the higher data rate takes place. Each host operating systems must provide at least the following primitives to its users. This list knows not to be necessary but sufficient. Like, somebody's just inventing the internet here. They're just telling you how it works. Yeah, the new ones are really indecipherable. The thing that I was talking about earlier is that some of these RFCs read like emails. I really wish I could find the one where it's just John Postal saying, I want to be in charge of this. Because I don't know, like, if here's proposed meeting. Some of them just got... On Friday, March 8th of May, 1970, at 9:30 a.m., a meeting at MIT Lincoln Laboratory is proposed. A description of LIL, Local Interaction Language for the TSP, Terminal Support Processor system will be presented. The purpose of the TSP system is to provide a flexible I/O capability for network users. In order to achieve maximum flexibility, the system is user-programmable in an interpretable language called LIL. LIL has the appropriate primitives for manipulating tree structures for interactive graphics, as well as message-oriented I/O. The general-purpose portion of the language is used to specify the I/O handlers and the display structures. A discussion of the problem of handling interactive programs over the ARPA network will follow. These guys are just planning a meeting! They're just planning a meeting! Inventing the internet! Oh no, I think this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. But I do! I can't tell you how happy it makes me. There's something about this that brings me such incredible joy about understanding that it was a bunch of nerds in a basement that made ARPA, that made the internet, and they're just sending each other memos and I can read those memos. I don't know. Feels like listening to Brutus plan Caesar's murder or something. I have no idea. Like, I'm there for a part of history. It also just shows you that, like, they're normal people. And you could just, you know, I'm just gonna make you guys suffer through this a little bit more. I have occasionally found myself in a situation in which I see a message from Site X on my IMP teletype, but I don't know the time and date of the message. I find this annoying, since a response to it may be in order if it is, say, less than an hour old, but not if it is several hours old. The situation is not improved by the existence of sites that now span all the time zones of the US and do not have direct voice connection. It is requested that everyone tag their IMP to IMP teletype messages that cause no response at the receiving IMP. The transmitting IMP sites should use 24-hour time and include time zone designations. He's telling them they got a timestamp! They're IMP messages! They're teletype messages! I don't know, this stuff, like, these days it seems so self-evident. Look, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Came on March 30th of 1970. It's so good. It's just, I love learning. I know that the one that I'm looking for is somewhere around here, but I have forgotten the number of it. If I still had my old work computer, I could tell you. Because one of these is where they decide that someone should be in charge of assigning ports, and it's really funny to me. I'm just gonna keep looking. Oh, here's the network meeting that they had arranged. Maybe it's lower down. It could be 23. Documentation conventions? Like, they were beta testing the internet. That's crazy. This basically says, hey, this isn't a closed network. We're beta testing the internet. Anyway, I'm ranting while we're on ads and I shouldn't be. I'm gonna go to the restroom real quick. I'll be right back. Thank you guys. Okay, I got really off topic. But I promise it's in here somewhere. New protocol is coming. That's so ominous. Oh, I don't know. I feel like internet history is just one of the most fascinating things. I don't feel like it was as high as the 50s. But maybe it is. I don't know. Anything under 100 is really fun to read. Yeah, ARPA is such a fascinating thing to learn about because it was started as like it started as something that the government did, but then John Postal was like, nah, Washington's not in charge, it's a bunch of nerds. I'm glad that Bear's dead, Alex. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah. Anyway, I think the internet's so cool. How did I get here? I'm looking specifically for the RFC where John Postal names himself as Czar of Port Numbers. He's like, somebody's got to be in charge of it. It's gonna be me. It's I don't know why, but it made me cackle. It's like a one-line memo that he sent out. And it's not very long, and it doesn't really give you much information, but, like, it's really funny. There's a lot of things that I'm not really sure why I find them so funny, but that's one of them where I'm just like, there's something innately hilarious. And I know it's like below the 50s, but I don't know exactly which one it is. And I think he's talking about port numbers, or it could just be that I was learning about UDP at the time, but that was how I found RFC in the first place, was that I literally Googled how did they assign port numbers, and I found the RFC that talks about assigning port numbers in the first place, and I was very interested in like, well, why did we determine that the ports were the way that they were, and how do we still determine that as we're moving forward? Why are some ports really low numbers? Why are there non-assigned ports? There's a lot of questions about ports because I found it really interesting. And that's, honestly, I think that's one of the best ways to learn is you find something and then all of a sudden you just start asking about 4 billion questions about it, and it doesn't matter if it pertains to the main subject. Like, if you want to learn stuff, is it 433? Was I that far off? The Czar of socket numbers, John Postal, has established the following assignments for socket numbers used for public functions. Maybe that's how I found it out. 433. Here's the socket number list. Oh, 433 also says the Czar of socket numbers, John Postal. Oh, that's so funny. Maybe that's how I found it? I was looking way too far down then. 349. I don't know, don't y'all think it's like... Maybe I'm the only person who's absolutely fascinated by... Yes! Yes! You're so right, Az! You got it! I propose there is a czar. I think it is this. It is the me in parentheses, the space between me and... Hold on, I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see this. I propose that there is a czar. Me? It's so tentative. It's so... Like, please, I need someone to understand why this is the funniest I have ever seen in my life. This is John Postal. He's the one who assigned all the port numbers that we use on our computers. And he's asking like a little girl, like, oh, whittle all me. Like, it's so good. Learn about internet history. It's great. I literally sent this to all of my coworkers who know anything about computer science. I said, I screenshotted it, sent it to them, and said, please understand why I find this so funny. It's so crazy that this initial proposal was only 8 bits of ports and still seemed like plenty. Yeah. Me, who hands out official socket numbers for use by standard protocols. This czar should manager or like guy who's in charge. Literally any word except for czar would have made this 10 times less funnier. But it is the use of the word czar. He could have just said king and I wouldn't have found it as funny. But czar? Oh, it's like he knew how funny he was. Registrar. Registrar is a perfectly normal word to use and it would have been 10 billion times less funny. Oh, I love it. The czar should also keep track of and publish a list of these socket numbers where host-specific services can be obtained. I further suggest that an initial allocation be as follows. Socket 0 through 63, network-wide standard functions, 64 to 127, host-specific functions, 128 to 239, reserved for future use. He was like, yeah, that's enough. That's enough. It's not gonna get much bigger than that, is it, buddy? This'll be fine. And then 240 to 255, any experimental function. And within the network-wide standard functions, the following particular assignment be made. 1 for telnet, 3 for file transfer, 5 for remote job entry, 7 for echo, and 9 for discard. Ugh. They did this in 96. That's crazy. Wish Bro lived to see Minecraft. Oh. John Postal is the perfect example of centralization being not only benign, but actively and massively beneficial. Yeah, the fact that he was like, okay, we just need to get this together and figure it out, rather than having a bunch of people attempt to suggest things and figure it out, to where we would then have to take all of those ideas and consolidate them later. Like, the man knew what he was doing. He was like, this is gonna be big. He didn't know how big, but he knew that it was gonna be large enough that they needed someone in charge of it. And like, now we have like 4 billion socket numbers. So, there you go. The czar of socket numbers. Note that a socket number is a 40-bit quantity, and the first 8 bits being the host specification, the next 24 bits being site-specific, and the last 8 bits being user-specified. These last bits are called the AEN. It stands for, cleverly enough, another 8-bit number! Oh, I love them. Ah. Oh, they ended up, they added 19 for the character generator. And also, like, if you look it up on here, there's many of these that aren't really used, like the one that is 17, which is quote of the day. A service, the quote of the day service is a member of the Internet Protocol Suite, defined in 1983 by RFC 865 by John Postal. As indicated there, the quote of the day concept predated this specification. When quote of the day was used by the mainframe sysadmins to broadcast a daily quote on request by a user. It was then formally codified both for prior purposes as well as for testing and measurement purposes. A host may connect to a server that supports the quote of the day protocol on either TCP or UDP port 17. To keep the quotes at a reasonable length, RFC 865 specifies a maximum of 512 octets for the quote. The quote of the day service is rarely enabled and is often firewalled to avoid DDoS attacks. The current testing and measurement of IP networks is more commonly done with ping and traceroute, which are more robust adaptations of the Echo protocol, RFC 862, which predated the attempt at quote of the day standardization. I know, like, they're so funny. The people who invented the internet are so funny. I love it. I think actually this Wikipedia page is what got me to look at RFC 865 and sent me down this little rabbit hole of RFCs in the first place, and I was like, this is the sickest thing ever invented. So cool. Y'all know how, like, my dream job... Actually, I'm gonna make this into a clip. I want everyone to listen real carefully, okay? My dream job is going somewhere, a huge room of files that are unorganized and have no current system of how they are filed, and filing them, digitizing them, putting them in their little boxes, making places for them to exist. I want to organize a bunch of paper files in the little file folders. I want to get to use various stickers and write on them. I'd like to use post-it notes occasionally. This is my dream job. If anyone knows of this job that exists on college campuses, within the government, within corporations, if you know of a job like this that exists, please tell me. It is my dream job. I would do it for 8 hours a day. I would not complain. I would cry very rarely. Sometimes I just cry. Please tell me about this job if it exists. Thank you. Anyway, that was my PSA for that is my dream job. I just need to clip that sometime so that I could hopefully get my dream job. The internet was created by a bunch of comedians. It's so true. What is TLA, TLB, and TLE? 3-letter notation standards. Well, okay. Well, if we're looking at the Internet Protocol suite, we've got BGP, DNS, FTP, IPP, IRC, POP, PTP, RTP, RIP. What is RIP? Oh, the Routing Information Protocol. I do remember that vaguely. We got SIP, the Session Initiation Protocol. I learned about all of this. The TLS, the SSL. You got the PPP, Point-to-Point Protocol. 3-letter acronym translation, look aside buffer table, lookup error. Some random dude is gonna come across your short and tell you that your dream job exists. Please, Gwen. That's all I want. I just want some random dude to come across my short and tell me that they'll pay me like $25 an hour to do exactly that. They may not pay me that much, but they should because I'm really good at doing it. And I would be a personality hire, all right? That job has got, listen, too many places have, okay, the actual dream job is doing that for a PI who's been in business for 30 years but never organized his files. And it's just dirt on so many people. And I just have to organize it and file it away. Like, that's the actual, like, the true dream job. Because then I just get to read files about people being messy all the time. Like, that sounds great. But, I'd do it if it was, like, hydrology or something. I'd care about that. Because, like, it's just about the organizing. It's just about putting things in little boxes and making those boxes go in places. And then, like, the thing is, I don't want to work on a computer for very long. I don't mind digitizing it. That's totally fine. I can do that. I can scan stuff in and everything. But mostly, I'd like to be working with the paper files. You get lost researching the old PI's cases and accidentally solve like 4 of them. You know it. Dude, if they let me do this in like a police station or something, I'd solve like 6 cold cases by accident. Just because I organized the files correctly. You know, like I'd put it together and then like the file folder would like light up and suddenly like a big exclamation point would show up and it would be like, case solved. Like, I just know that's what would happen. Hi Edu, good to see you. I hope you're doing well. We're learning about the internet and talking about my dream job working with physical files in a physical basement where I eat lunch that I pack for myself every day in my tiny apartment, and then afterwards sometimes I go contra dancing. Aww. I don't know. It's easy to envision a good life like that. Right? It sounds so nice. I'd have one of those little bird feeders that sticks outside the window. Listen, there's nothing stopping me from doing that right now, but it's very important that I have all the other pieces of my life together correctly. Case folder starts glowing and suddenly disintegrates. Boss, I think I fucked it up. Oh no, that's just what happens when you solve a case too hard. Unfortunately, the pace required for professional digitalization basically only gives you enough time looking at a document to be sure you probably placed it correctly. Gross. Gross. No, I need a company that understands I take my time, and like those rarely exist. Like truly. Like they need to know that I'm gonna be nosy, and they want me to be nosy because they want it to be correct. They want me to ask questions and figure stuff out, and those companies just don't really exist very much. Which is why I need to be hired by a private investigator who has 30 years of case files that he needs me to put together for him in his in his office in New York that he's had once again for the last 30 years and is rent controlled and has an incredible view. Like, not that I've thought extremely hard about this or anything. Not that I've thought like really hard about this or anything. Anyway.
Hey,
Welcome
you're getting
on
ready
in,
to be
RPG
normal.
Waldorf. I hope you had a good stream. Let me give you a shout out. What were you guys doing? Didn't seem like it. Well, okay, maybe I have thought about it quite a lot. Thank you. You were giving feedback to a dev. Nice, nice. I'm such a little baby. I'm such a little baby. Hold on one second. I have to go ban somebody from YouTube. They were bad. Run for your life. Those YouTube rascals, yeah. Also, hello, Raider. Sorry. Sometimes the people on YouTube can be a little weird. Most of them are really nice. Hello, Raiders. My name is Gremlin Mae. I play and do whatever makes my ADHD go brrr. And today I'm learning Python because I don't think you should ever stop learning and trying new things. Earlier, we were talking about how cool RFCs or requests for comments are. We love John Postal in this house. We love how cool the beginning of the internet is, etc., etc. Also, hello, Drakey. It's good to see you. Google rips off the bindings of books to scan them faster? Oof. No, I want, oh, I'm going to the wrong one. I'm so sorry. I want a fake job. My real dream job is actually a fake job that probably doesn't exist under capitalism, but like, I love to dream that it's a real job, you know? Also, RPG, if you need to head on, I guess I should call you Waldorf. Waldorf, if you need to head on out, if you need to raid and run, please feel free. Raiders, we'd love to have you stick around, but no obligation. We are a big yap-heavy stream, so I tend to talk quite a lot. I hope you're up for that. I don't really ever shut up. I am never on topic, but I am always on topic. You know what I mean? You get it? You get it? She do be talking. She really does not shut up. That's why this is my dream job. Yep, I get it. I do love yapping. Waldorf, if you don't have to run, can I ask what programming language you work in? If you were giving feedback to a dev, or you may work within, I guess, a software. I don't know anything about game development. Once again, that's why I'm learning Python actually for cybersecurity. One of my passions is figuring out how computers work so I can stroke and caress them lovingly and whisper sweet nothings into their ears to make them listen to me. I'd really like to be able to open a command line and type in things and then say, I'm in. Ooh, the RPG Maker community. I've seen some really sick RPG Maker games before, though. That's really cool. No, I love that. Yes, a techromancer. That's me. No, that's so sick. I was just saying earlier that, like, I think it would be easier to learn Python if I was doing a game development project, because I feel like a lot of stuff is used in game development that isn't used as much in data, because, like, when I worked in data, I worked almost exclusively in pandas, so I don't actually know anything about how the frick Python works underneath the hood. I just know how to manipulate a data frame, so... I disagree that RPG Maker is a fake dev, but if they want to roast themselves, I'll let them. 15 streams back to back. Thank you, Drakey. There's a game made to learn Python? Oh. Yeah, I feel like RPG Maker is kind of infamous for that, but I always think it's kind of bunk, dude. Like, it's the same as people being like, fanfiction isn't real writing. Like, shut up, dude. Shut up. I've read fanfictions that are way better than published novels. And I feel like it's the same for RPG Maker. If people are telling stories that they like and making games that they like, hell yeah. I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So... But I think people love to be haters when they see other people being passionate. Thank you for the follow, Walter. Right, mine was too. I read and wrote fanfiction and then did very well with poetry, so... From what I understand about RPG Maker, and the RPG Maker folks in the chat can correct me, is that it doesn't require a lot of coding, if any at all. And that's why it's super accessible to people, and that's why it's really wonderful, because the barrier to entry for your creativity is much lower, and therefore you're able to create things that are interesting and fun to you without having to learn an entire programming language. It's like vibe coding, yeah. Dude, I feel like if I do learn to code and I do code, it'll be vibe coding. There will be no real... no real rhyme or reason for it. Yeah, I could see how a lot of slop comes out of it too. The barrier for entry, like, I also, just for the new folks, I design tabletop role-playing games, and the barrier for entry for tabletop role-playing games is pretty low. So there is technically a lot of quote-unquote slop, but in the TTRPG community, I see it as a designer's first step towards being able to communicate in a way that is accessible and fun for them. And so even if it's not the best game that's ever been made, or even good and playable, what matters is that they're out there and they're creating tabletop games. That's what I want, is more people making games, like making more tabletop games. I don't care if it's considered slop, you know? But games like Amori prove all the RPG Maker haters wrong. Yeah, kick them to the curb. Kick the haters to the curb, dude. Yeah, you can work with an event system instead of coding, but I love to code anyway. It makes it 10 times more powerful. Yeah, and so like, in the TTRPG world, I'm sorry, I'm making this about my passion, but for us, like, you can make TTRPGs in something like Canva or in Microsoft Word, but if you use something like Affinity Publisher and you work to learn design and layout, then your TTRPGs can look and be a lot more presentable. So I think a good TTRPG is built around player agency and immersion within reasonable limitations. There are 4 loaded statements in that sentence alone, Gwen. Have you ever made games in TT Simulator? No, I've never heard of that. Oh, in Tabletop Simulator. Ah, no, I have not. But that's largely because I make role-playing games that are closer to LARPs or live-action role-plays. So they use a very few game mechanics or game pieces. The majority of it is placed on role-playing, like role-playing your characters. Excuse me. Yeah, I always say RPG Maker is the best to learn game design since you focus more on the game and less on the code. Yeah, it seems like a good way to hone a lot of your skills regarding that. One of the things that I've always said is that you should start by making tabletop games that are based on a system that you already enjoy, and then you can work on figuring out why that system works and what you can tweak. When I was not disagreeing with your statement, I think your statement is true. The phrase player agency, immersion, and reasonable limitations are things that I know people have argued and will continue to argue over what that means. Like each of those statements is loaded because they're hard to define, I guess. And even worse, not everyone thinks that they're hard to define, which can make it 10 times more complicated for the people attempting to just make games. I'm kind of just waiting Epic to release UE's language that's meant to be something like GD script. Not that I plan to ever make a game, but I want to see the tools I'll make. I had never heard of that. Like I said, I'm not really into game design, but 100% that's the crux of playing games built around everyone's collective imagination. Yeah. Like, I had a 2-hour-long discussion once again about Triangle Agency, which is a tabletop role-playing game that I cannot stress enough I do not enjoy. And yet, I have probably spent a collective 30 hours talking about outside of the 40 hours that I've played. So, like, I don't know, I just keep talking about it because, like, I finally admitted that there are parts of it that I find smart. But at the same time, I just don't like it as a game. But there are lots of people who do really like it. So, what is GD script? Sorry, I'm stretching. Ooh. Also, hope it's okay. I'm gonna keep going through my learning Python section. One day we're gonna get to the part where they actually have me write some code or something, maybe. We're on F strings, concatenating. I know how to use the length function. Now onto indexing each character. Okay, I do know how indexing works. String slicing, this I don't think I know. String slicing lets you extract a portion of a string or work with only a specific part of it. If you want to extract characters from a certain index to another, you just separate the start and stop indices with a colon. Okay. Apart from the start and stop indices, there's also I've never heard of this. This is crazy. Godot uses GD script for the code part of their game, which is their own language meant to be more beginner-friendly than the more commonly used C++ and similar. I've only worked briefly with C, in relation to substring. Yeah, that happens. That happens. They're trying not to bog you down with it, I guess, but I would like to know. Substring makes more sense to me, too. But I've used C in coding for keyboards before. I've only used it vaguely and not, like, seriously. I had to figure out how to change it so that some of my students when I was teaching a class on how to build keyboards, so that they could have little capybaras that do the bongos. I got them that so that it does the bongos when they type. Colon offers a deal to the square bracket, no strings attached. That's funny. Oh. My question is, okay, so I do understand why they might tell me this, but why would you ever use this? Print my string. You're basically telling it print the whole string, so this just seems extremely redundant. Oh, hey Fear Factor, welcome in. Or Fear Factory, sorry, I forgot the why. Why did I do that? In the comment below, the slicing starts at index 0, stops before 11, and extracts every second character. Does it okay, so the start and stop is saying we're gonna look at this section and I want you to step within that section? Okay. A helpful trick you can do with the step parameter is to reverse a string by setting step to -1 and leaving start and stop blank. And it prints it backwards. Ooh, interesting. Oh, your tech hysteria. Ooh. Oh, bye, Walter. Thank you so much again for the raid. I really appreciate it. I hope you have a great day. Okay, it makes sense if you look at it. If you look at it as just documenting an edge case of combining other rules. Okay. Okay. It's an edge case. Totally get that. It can also be helpful to check if a character or set of characters exist in a string before slicing it. To do that, Python provides the in operator, which returns a boolean that specifies whether or not the character exists in the string or not. Okay. That makes sense to me. Dude, I sometimes wish that you could use the AND operator to merge strings. How do you define a multi-line string that's triple quotes? How do you extract a specific portion of a string in Python? Use square brackets with start and stop positions. Dude, she's so correct. It's crazy. Python provides a number of built-in methods that make working with strings a breeze. They include but are not limited to the following: uppercase, lowercase. Strip returns a new string with the specified leading and trailing letters removed. If no argument is passed, it removes leading and trailing white space. We have something like that in pandas. Now, anyone using that syntax needs to get help, but it's good to document technically intentional behavior. That makes sense, yeah. Oh. Okay, replace old, new. Returns a new string with all occurrences. Yeah, I mean, like, this is like, there's like a dot white space in pandas. There's like a dot replace, split. And there's still dot replace, okay. And the way the syntax for it is you do the name of the variable. So you create a new variable and assign it to, yeah, okay, that's making sense to me. You got split, join, Join elements of an iterable into a string. Did they define what an iterable is? Oh, okay, a list starts with... Aww. Thank you so much for the sub, Fallen. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. 2 months in a row. That's crazy. It's been great having you. 2 hours of this Python stuff? Oof. Okay, Fear Factory, I will say, if you were to, like, watch back, the majority of this has been me yapping. We haven't gotten very far, to be honest. Okay, so starts with, ends with, find. Yeah, I've used find before. .count. Returns the number of times a substring appears in the string. Phoenix, you're at home. Why are you throwing things at me? Capitalize. Is upper. Is lower. Title. Okay, so capitalize only capitalizes the first letter, so that's like sentence capitalization, and then title is all words capitalized. Okay. Which methods check if all letters in a string are uppercase and all letters are lowercase? That's is upper and is lower. Do I not normally wait until I'm home to throw things? I guess that's true, but usually you're coming from somewhere. I'm assuming your job. How can you replace all occurrences of one or more parts of a string with another string? One of my favorite things that I used to do with my best friend was he was working on a side project in language using large language models to like translate stuff in something. Yeah. So you do what you want. So my best friend was using large language learning models to translate some sort of text into another text in a way that hadn't previously been done. This was a side project. Every time someone would ask him about it, I would interrupt him and then tell them a fake thing that I believed he was working on, such as tracking polar bears in the Arctic and their weight fluctuations over time. How much trees moved in a year. How, like, the growth rate of, I don't know, small newts in South America. And he would never correct me. He would always just go, yeah, that's it. And it was one of my favorite bits. But the problem is, it took me like 6 months to learn what he was actually working on because I thought the bit was so funny I never let him tell people about it. He was so rude of me, but he never stopped me. Don't throw things at me. He's tracking the rate at which bees fly east. It has been decreasing lately. I think I did use bees one time. How can you replace occurrences of one or more parts of a string with another string? Replace? You can't just make an announcement telling people to throw things at me, okay? People like me. They're not gonna throw things at me, alright? They like me. You think you can get everybody to riot against me? Oh, you do water I want. You do water you want. Typo. Clown on him! Typo! 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 I said what I said. Oh no, you froze me. Thank you, Robot, for standing with me in solidarity. That's very nice of you. Anyway, I'm gonna keep learning. I don't know about you guys. Type O. You're a universal donor? Raider. Integers and floats are the primary numeric data types in Python. With them, you can store numeric data and perform mathematical operations. Let's look at what integers and floats are, how to perform arithmetic calculations with them, and at several methods Python provides for working with both. Integers are whole numbers without decimal points, either positive or negative. Here's how to perform an addition operation with integers. Okay, you use a plus sign. To subtract, you use a minus sign. To multiply, you use the multiplication sign. To divide, you use the divide sign. This is crazy. Oh no, what's the new logo for your brand? Okay, floats are positive or negative numbers with decimal points. Here's an addition operation with floats. Wow, it's the exact same. That's crazy. If you add an integer to a float, the result is automatically converted to a float. This is true for other basic arithmetic operations too, like subtraction, multiplication, and division. If you mix integers and floats, Python will return a float as the result. You can also perform more complex arithmetic calculations, such as getting the remainder of two numbers with the modulo operator, floor division, and exponentiation with both integers and floats. Excuse me? You can also perform more complex arithmetic calculations, such as getting the remainder of two numbers with the modulo operator, floor division, question mark, question mark, question mark, and exponentiation with both integer. Oh, they're gonna explain this, thank God. The modulo operator returns the remainder when the value on the left is divided by the value on the right. Hate that. Hate that we're gonna get this much into math. Okay. So, left by the right. Floor division divides two numbers and returns the greatest integer less than or equal to the result. This is done with the double forward slash operator. Don't tell me that. Guys, I want to keep believing that I, as someone who never took anything past pre-calc, can figure this out, okay? I want to live under that delusion that I never needed to go through calculus to make it through learning Python. Let me live in my little world where a little humanities girly can figure this out. Okay? Does math fundamentally mess with something in my brain? Yes. Yeah, it's a bunch of zeros and ones. That makes sense to me. Oh, the higher level abstractions lead to hilariously bad machine instructions. Oh, great. Great. One time, I accidentally ran I ran something in Jupyter Lab that started an endless loop, and I had to shut everything down. I had to just shut down my computer. Okay, listen. A little humanities girly can't figure this out, I believe. Thank you. Thank you. You believe in me. I don't even remember what it was that I did. But suddenly I was like, oh, it's still going. Uh-oh. Yeah, like sometimes you vibe code an endless loop and like that's just the way that the world works, alright? If you're not out here vibe coding endless loops, are you really coding? Like, come on. Come on. Okay. So exponentiation raises a number to the power of another and is done with the double asterisk operator. Great, thank you so much. Python also provides built-in functions for converting either numeric data or strings into integers or floats. You can use the float function to convert an integer into a float by adding a decimal point of 0 to the integer. And you can use the end function to convert a float into an integer, which removes the decimal point and everything after the float. After it from the float, you pass it. Also, you can use the same built-in function to convert a string into either a float or an integer. Here are some other methods Python provides for working with integers and floats. Round. Rounds to the specified number of decimal places. By default, this function rounds to the nearest integer and returns a whole number with no decimal places. Abs returns the absolute value of a number. I do know what an absolute value number is. Absolute value of a number is. That's what it means, like, really. Calc isn't too spooky as long as you're not messing with topology or dimensionality. Most of it's just a bunch of second-order polynomials repeated tons. Hey, princess, I know that you meant to say, like, calculus is really spooky all the time. Because second-order polynomials is one of the scariest phrases that's ever been typed in my chat. I get what you're saying, but you know, the problem is I was fully hoping to mess with topology and dimensionality, so like maybe I should rethink things. That was like the first thing I was gonna mess with. That's crazy. Excuse me. I'm like calculating the quotient and remainder of division. So you'd write x divided by y, x modulo y, and then a compiler emits 2 div instructions because that instruction produces both results, and it just throws away one result from each execution. Wild. To be frank, a while true loop is still better than me somehow making an endless for loop. I've made an endless for loop before. It happens, dude. Also, welcome my name, princess. I need more people that understand calculus in my life to quietly go, it's okay, May. It's not that hard. And then I sob and I sob and I say, but it is that hard. And you go, no, honey, you'll get it. You'll get it. You know? Because, like, I was begging for my life in algebra, dude. But you want me to write a poem at the drop of a hat? I got you. You want me to write a short story? I got you. You want me to analyze the character motivations in a novel? I got you. Add 2 numbers together? I'm out. I'm out. Take me out right now. I'm not doing it. I can add 2 numbers together, but the second we start adding letters to our numbers, soon as we get algebraic, I'm out of here. True, if I was medicated. If I was medicated, maybe calculus would make sense to me. That's probably it. It's the lack of Adderall in my life. Calc, you can hit your head against hard enough and get it eventually. But like I did proofing and pre-calc and still don't get that, to be quite frank. Can we get a poem about second order polynomials? I don't know what they are. Hi, Kuro, welcome in. Where to the scary portion where my screen hurts my brain? Something about how do you work with integers and floating point numbers? So we gotta learn this last little bit. Bin converts an integer to its binary representation as a string. Sick. Oct converts an integer to its octal representation as a string. So wild. Love that. Hex converts an integer to its hexadecimal representation as a string. I'm literally dabbing, dude. That's so sick. What does any of this mean? Power raises a number to the power of another number or performs modular exponentiation. Incredible. Like, the thing is, I do like cybersecurity. Am I good at it? No. Like, do I know how it works? No. I'm fascinated by it. I feel like you want to know what it feels like? I feel like I'm sitting at a zoo and cybersecurity is the bear exhibit. And I'm just sitting there waiting to catch a glimpse of the bears because they rarely show up. You know? Well, in my cybersecurity unit, I only got to the part where they were explaining how UDP works. I was starting at the very beginning when I was doing cybersecurity. So I was learning mostly how computers and the internet works in general, and then I didn't get much further than that because I got fired from my job, and that was where I did a lot of my learning. Yeah, like a MAC address, and how to spoof a MAC address. So, you know, that was basically where I was. I think I understand, like, hex numbers. I've seen that before, but I mostly know hexadecimal numbers in relation to colors. MAC address is hex. That makes sense. Okay, thank you, Energy. There's so much to learn. It's really exciting. I get to see the bears come out. Until you've read IEEE 754 to actually understand why 1 is not equal to 0.1 is not equal to 0.1. Is that what that is? Why does it say it's 0? Guys, why does it say it's 0? Is that what it's supposed to be? What is the exclamation point? Not equals? Oh. Hexadecimal is way more common to run into. Ah. A second order polynomial is a line you can solve for with a quadratic formula. The fact we think that explains it for me is hilarious. That explains it for me is great. I really appreciate that you have that much trust in me. That you would think that saying a second order polynomial is a line you could solve for with a quadratic formula would tell me what a second order polynomial is. This is so good. We know it doesn't, but pretending it does is funny. Oh my gosh. Also, hi, B-Love. I hope you're doing well. Oh, I'm sorry, we're about to hit ads. I definitely need to drink some water and go to the bathroom and take a break and breathe because I've been thinking about second order polynomials. Math turns to it turns into something that makes me want to start swinging. I don't have numbers in anything. I don't have faith in anything. Numbers are mean. I've never met anyone who does math that talks well of it, you know? Oh. Ugh. My neck hurt from laughing so hard, dude. Crazy. Alright, I'm gonna take a quick break and then we'll be back after the ads. Please make sure you stretch, go get some water, get some food, etc. Take care of yourselves. If you know something well in STEM, you know enough to despise it. It's a love-hate relationship. I do know many plant bio people who actually hate whatever their, like, study, like whatever plant they studied, like whether it was a grass. There are a lot of plant bio majors who become allergic to, like, tomatoes because they work with them for too long, and they tend to hate whatever it is. So I definitely understand that. For sure. Alright. You lost me. I will be right back. 3 minutes. Okay. I went downstairs to get some more water, and my dad is conked out. I've been promoted to first monitor? Let's go. 15 years old? Wow. I've been thinking about switching from one big one to 2 smaller ones, but I don't know. Even just having 2 would be better than what I've got right now, so. What is Brainly? I don't want an AI learning companion. I don't want an AI anything. 6 tiny monitors? That would be really funny, honestly. Mine is... I can show you the exact one that I have. Rogue made fun of me for putting this on my throne, but... this is the exact one that I have. It is a 34-inch curved gaming monitor. 344 by 144. And I actually really love it. I thought about, you know, I have lots of like little things on here. I love this thing. I can't believe it's $80, but it's worth it, TBH. I used to have one. I love it. What panel? I have no idea. Maybe it says on there. It's great. I love it. The fish hat is my favorite. Let any fish who meets my gaze learn the true meaning of fear, for I am the harbinger of death. And then what I was thinking was I could stack the 2 monitors together and that would work pretty well, I think, on my desk. But I'm not too sure. Anyway, the other stuff on here is just fun stuff. I mean, look at Yumiko. She's beautiful. I've also always wanted to try a Lego set and I never have, but they're so expensive. Gambling wife? Yeah. I've never had a standee before because they're so expensive. Most of this stuff on here, don't buy it for me. It's on here in case someone is literally insane. Dude, the hoodie goes so hard. It's so nice. Most of this stuff, I don't know. I put it on there because it's kind of fun. I don't have any other stuff. I hope most people just know that donating to me is the best thing so I can buy food. But these are also fun. Like, look at how cool this thing is. I know someone who has this and it looks so fun. I think I really like putting Legos together. Yep. Also, these from Bisu Lovely. Oh, they're so good. Like, look at that Sagittarius one. Ugh. I had all my jewelry stolen, so. I would never finish that. I would. Listen, if you've got problems and money to burn, you could buy me a gravity cooling weighted blanket. You could also buy me, this is from Forbidden West, but this guy also shows up in the original game, and I think it looks so cool. What? You think that's terrible? Look at that. I am the harbinger of death. Actually, I'm okay with them not being in birthstones personally. because I don't like December's birthstone, and also because I would assume the reason they are not is because November and December have different birthstones. Oh, my jewelry being stolen. Yeah, it really sucked. I had like I had a really cool You have a Christmas list that you send out? That's so funny. Here, I'll show you what a birthstone is. Here's the modern and traditional. So December is a blue topaz, which I totally understand for December. It makes sense, but the fact that Lego is classified as a kid's toy is kind of criminal. Yeah, it is mostly an adult thing. Yeah. Anyway, these are the birthstones. So I think my favorite is July's, which is the ruby. I love red, but then again, that's a very Sagittarius thing. There was a company that I really liked. Let me see if I can find their name. It's like June and something, I think. Oh, it was like blank and blank. It was a jewelry company that was like blank and blank. I'm not too sure. You keep off my rubies? No! Astrid and Miu. Okay, I'll show you the zodiac necklace that I used to have. I think this is it. Oh, they may not even sell it anymore. Oh no, there it is. There it is. But that's in silver. I want to see the gold one. Okay, I want to show this to you guys. I used to have this. It's gigantic. I love it. Is it not gorgeous? Look at that. And it was like heavy and it felt really good. Oh. Can't believe it got stolen. But it looks so pretty. Ah. You can't even see that because of where that's positioned. I'm such a sucker for jewelry with the zodiac sign. It's on big sale. That's nice. I don't think I'd ever pay for something that I've already owned that got stolen, unless it was like something that I needed. Like my jewelry and my makeup got stolen because obviously the person who stole the bag did not know what was in it. But Swagtarius. I replaced my makeup because I use that, but I haven't replaced much of my jewelry. I don't know. Well, I need to take Dawn Trail off of here. Yeah. Anyway. You are never obligated to buy me anything. Please know that. Okay. Leo gang. Ooh. Virgo. I like Virgos. I think you're looking for Gemini oppression. Why is your brain okay? Virgos have been generally nice people. I don't know. I don't know everybody's sign. I don't usually ask. I only tend to ask if like it comes up in conversation or I find it really funny. Like one time I made a spreadsheet. One time I made a spreadsheet to track people's climbing shoe choices and their zodiac sign. This is so true. I found no correlation. But, you know, there was no correlation. But, you know, I just wanted to make a spreadsheet. I checked, yeah. Of course, I only have the small sample of my climbing gym, but... This all started because multiple Sagittarians that I knew owned the same shoes as me. That was really the only correlation that I found. Zodiac signs and favorite colors, though? My favorite colors are purple and green. But the green that I like the most tends to be a pretty dark green. So Sagittarians have good taste? Yes. I mean, I know that Ash is also a Sagittarian, and Ash watches me, so... Okay, maybe you're just base. You're probably right. But also, when I went downstairs, my dad was so passed out. Dude, the way that dads sleep in recliners is crazy. They look like they are getting the biggest honk shoe me sleep that you've ever seen in your life. And it's always a dad in a recliner. I hope to one day experience dad in the recliner sleep without having to be a dad. You know? Like, I want dad in a recliner sleep. I want to feel that. The nap that they get has got to be off the charts. Couch sleep hitting different, recliner sleep hitting different. Knowing that your wife is over there making dinner for you, oh, it goes crazy. One day, maybe I'll understand the couch recliner sleep. What statement correctly describes integers in Python? Integers are whole numbers without decimal points, either positive or negative. Abs. Dude, she's so cracked. Thanksgiving is coming up. You can eat a bunch and rub your belly and go, oh no, then fall asleep. I fell asleep outside in the snow once in a reclining camp chair because the cloak I wore was so warm I didn't even care it was the middle of winter. That's crazy. Dude, that reminds me of... Okay, I'm sorry. This is actually really sad. I don't know why it reminds me of this. There was like 4 guys that froze to death outside that dude's apartment, but like he was just like inside and they were given like fentanyl or something crazy. And I don't know if he was ever charged with their murder or whatever, but that was like wild. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. I learned about it from last podcast on the left. There were 3 guys. I'll see if I can find it. You don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, so here is me proving that it's real. Do we have answers for the 3 guys that died in January in Kansas City? Hey everyone, just wanted to follow up on this. What happened with the investigation? I saw reports that it was drugs, but do we know what drugs? Why was the guy never checked, or any kind of timeline? Toxicology reports cocaine and fentanyl were found in their systems. Pure speculation, but my guess is they passed out from the fentanyl in the bitter cold and died of exposure or hypothermia. Boop. Here's the news report. So from the investigation into 3 Kansas City men found dead outside a Northland home last month. Details change again. 5th friend speaks out after 3 men found dead at KC home. So, Harrington, McGeaney, and Johnson went to their friend Jordan Wilson's home to watch the Kansas City Chiefs' final regular season game on January 7th. They were found dead 2 days later outside the rental home near Northwest 83rd Terrace and North Overland Drive in Kansas City. Willis's attorney John Picierno says there was a fifth person hanging out at the home Sunday night. That fifth friend said when he left, the three victims and Willis were still awake. They were still alive in the wee hours of Monday morning, maybe as early as 1:30 a.m. It wasn't until late Tuesday night that McGeeney's fiance went looking for him, eventually broke into the home and found a body. When police arrived, Willis opened the door and officers found the other two bodies. His attorney issued a statement that Willis had no idea his friends were dead outside. I didn't give up on coding. I like Core. I see you on YouTube. This is much less fun story than the belly recliner sleep thing. It's true, but it made me think of it. Apparently the guy, Willis, had a drug issue. The fifth friend speaks out. Let's see what they say here. It's got a lot of holes in it. Last time he saw them, they were leaving the house, but he didn't know they had left. That doesn't make much sense. Yeah, basically what they said on last podcast on the left, I remember, was that like it seemed like the story had a lot of holes in it, and they figured out the reason the story had so many holes in it was because the guy was addicted to drugs. True crime X Python coding is a ship I didn't know I needed. Being known as the fifth friend is so crazy. Yeah, they did a little drugs together. Yeah, I can see it, Lakecore. I mean, at least gross negligence happened. That's true. That is what happened. Okay, hear me out. True crime storyline you solve with code. That does sound interesting. I'm gonna need a nice recliner to cover from this. You just gotta rub your belly and go, oh no. Dude, we've been talking about like Thanksgiving plans coming up, and I literally can't eat anything at Thanksgiving, so I just have to bring my own food. I would not be surprised if someone made a capture the flag like that. Yeah, it would be funny. They probably have. Oh, I love a good command line text adventure. Yeah, I can't eat turkey. It makes me really sleepy. Like not in a just tryptophans way. My mom was theorizing that I might be very susceptible to tryptophans. I don't know. It makes me really, really sleepy. You should, Robit. You should. It sounds fun. Text adventures are really cool. Have you guys ever tried to play a text adventure? Like, what is it? Oh, come on. Why is War of the Worlds the only thing I can think of? Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, that's it. So, like... I'm looking up stuff. Okay, so... This game will kill you frequently. It's a bit mean like that. So... Everyone's played Zork at least once. Zrock. I've never played it. Hi, Ash! Like Zorg the Fellowship. Yeah, I'll pick up an Assy Mud every now and again. Absolute blast. Stories Untold has a great one. Zork. Okay, the reason that I know about Zork is because the pilot of Chuck. I don't mess with AI literally in any capacity unless it's something that I can't avoid. Like it is in many things. But I tend not to. I generally prefer things that are handcrafted for very specific experiences by a person. But I do understand that it can be interesting, AI attempting to generate those things. It's just not really my vibe. Well, okay, so in the first episode of Chuck, the TV show, in the pilot, he gets sent an email from his friend, well, the old college roommate who is an enemy, Bryce Larson, and Bryce Larson sends him like the code for him to open the email is an old thing from Zork. AI Dungeon is incredibly horny? That makes sense. I feel like that makes sense. Do I have to actually... I have to physically click it in? Oh no. Anyway, if you guys have never played this, you should. It's really, really difficult. That's true, Rogue. I think people do just keep doing that. Don't say BRB, Robot. I made a few attempts at playing it, but I was very bad at it. You downloaded the virus? What virus? Not a virus. You think I'd send you to a virus? It's just a robot's back. Great. Oh, do I care about augmented assignments? I guess I do. Did you go talk to the horny AI? Did you? Be honest, Robot. Did you go talk to the horny AI? I won't think any less of you, but I will think you're a bad person. Okay. No, sadly. Alright. The main thing I remember from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy game is that you have to go north 4 times before it actually lets you go north. Yeah. Song of Storms. I have a song in my liked songs that is Song of Storms, but it's actually Take 5 and it's one of my favorites. Is that? That's not this, but it's a lo-fi remix. Your brain just switched on. That's crazy. Okay. Augmented assignment combines a binary operation with an assignment in one step. It takes a variable, applies an operation to it with another value, and stores the result back into the same value. Okay. 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 If you're familiar with a language like JavaScript, you probably heard of the addition assignment operator, plus equals, or subtraction assignment, minus equals, and others. Those exist in Python too. The only difference is they're referred to as augmented assignments. Why is this site using such big words? They trust me. I don't know. I don't know, dude. I will say I was 20 stream streak. Thank you so much, Ash. Kinda clingy, but you can keep being clingy. I appreciate it. I like it when my chatters are a little clingy. I didn't say that. The basic syntax of an augmented assignment looks like this. Those two introductory statements would make me reconsider my life if I didn't know what they're talking about. Not parasocial, by the way. Hey, yo, hit me up, BB. Oh, I'm praying for thicket. Clingy just means show up to all my streams. That's what it means. Okay, so I do have an understanding of what this is saying. Variable operator equals value, which is a more efficient way of doing variable equals variable operator value. Okay. Yup. Yup. The advantage of augmented assignment is that it provides a concise and readable way to update a variable value without repeating the variable name. In turn, this reduces redundancy and potential errors that might arise from a typo or something similar. Every operator can use an augmented assignment. We've looked at the addition assignment operators, so let's look at others. Am I clingy yet? You can get clingy when you get to 20. Yeah, Ash, when are you streaming next? You're down to 7? That's still nothing to sneeze at, Ty. Wow. Saying Edge 19 stream streaks was not on my list of bingo things for the day. That was not on my bingo card for 2025. The subtraction assignment operator subtracts the right operand from the left variable and stores the difference in the left variable. Okay. Multiplication, division, floor division, modulus, exponentiation, understood. There are other augmented assignment operators too, like those for bitwise operators. Princess, you'll get there, I promised. To be fair, most of 2025 wasn't on my bingo card, so true. Probably on Sunday in my afternoon. When is your afternoon? Is it during my afternoon? Or I think it's earlier than my afternoon, maybe? Because you were able to raid in last time, which means I might be able to watch you before my stream starts on Sunday. Because I'd like to stop by and catch it. Afternoon, -6. Got it. Understood. Makes sense. I'll be there at 6 a.m. on the dot. You guys got bingo cards? Yeah. Ah, okay. Well, then I can probably make it on Sunday. Exciting. You can use some augmented assignment operators with strings too. For example, the addition assignment operator makes it easy to concatenate strings. Okay. And the multiplication assignment operator can be used to repeat a string. Oh. Other augmented assignments throw a type error when you use them with strings. If you're wondering if increment and de-increment operators work in Python, they don't. You're right, I was wondering that. I literally was about to ask whether or not increment and de-increment operators work in Python, dude. Oh, that makes so much sense. Oh, I'm sorry, Palix. Yeah, thank you for answering that. That's because Python deliberately avoids C-style increment and de-increment shortcuts in order to keep the language clear and explicit. Instead of x++, you can simply write x plus equals 1, which makes it obvious that you're incrementing the value of x by 1. Writing ++ x in Python just applies the unary plus twice? What is an unary? What is an unary plus? Which augmented assignment operator raises a variable to a power and stores the result back to that variable? I think it actually wait. This is exponentiation. But that one's double. Oh, she's so cracked. Operator with one, it just means a single thing. Oh. I want to make a compiler which is just shouting in all caps, take x and add 1 to it. Would be writing x equals x plus 1. An unary operation is an operation that only takes one parameter. I don't know what unary plus does. I'm biting my tongue to avoid criticizing this language. Listen, I haven't gotten one wrong in a while, so I think I'm doing pretty good. I think I'm learning. Oh no, we're at functions. Oh no. I'm done being cracked. I'm put together. I'm entirely whole for this section. There's no cracks whatsoever. There's nothing to be cracked. I'm not cracked. I'm not gonna get it. I don't get functions. Oh. I'm rolling up my sleeves here. Did that not work? Yeah, I rolled up my sleeves. Totally put together and uncooked. I don't know, I'm about to be parboiled and roasted, dude. Functions? You're doing well, the language is stupid. A good, pure functional language doesn't let you change the value of things. If you set x as 1, you can't make it 2 later. Hey, wait a second, Ash. Are you a C person? What is a monad? In philosophy? A monad in philosophy is a singular thing. I believe it's Platonic, possibly? It has to do with one of the early Greek philosophers, I think. You work in Scala. Ah. Because we learned earlier. The object versus functional warriors. Oh no. Hi, Mage, by the way. Like, I didn't know there was anything other than the term monad from ancient Greek is used in some cosmic philosophy and cosmogony to refer to the most basic or original substance. It was as originally conceived by Pythagoras, who was a Greek guy. Haha. And then came up with Leibniz. There we go. What about it? She remembers her basic history of philosophy. Let's go. Okay, it is cold outside. I'll put my jacket back on. I was just rolling up my sleeves for demonstrative purposes. Okay. Functions are reusable pieces of code that run when you call them. Many programming languages come with built-in functions that make it easier to get started. Python is no exception, and we've already covered some built-in functions like print in previous lessons. In programming, we're using the mathematical version rather than the philosophical version. It's basically a box you can put things in, and then you can do things in the box to the object in the box. You can't get it out of the box. Interesting. We learned earlier that C does that, where you can't, all objects are immutable, and Python has mutable objects. My brain is braining. I can literally feel a wrinkle forming. Also, you guys are getting the actual experience of what it has been like for me to attempt to learn Python over the years. Because I am this distracted when learning. I have literally stopped learning in order to go and look at RFCs. I have gone on tangents for myself, Googling stuff like this, and then going back to RFCs. I don't know if they were specifically talking about Classic C, but anyway. I tried learning Python 5 separate times and had basically the same experience. It happens. It happens. You know, we learn things in lots of little spurts. Another helpful built-in function is input, which lets you prompt the user for input. I've done that before. Lua and C# are way easier to focus on for some reason. Again, I've only used C# for keyboards, so I don't really know that much about it. On the other hand, int converts a number, boolean, and numeric string into an integer. Okay. You can also write your own custom functions. To do that, you use the define keyword, def, followed by the name you want to give your function, a pair of parentheses, and a colon. Then on a new line, you write the code your function should run. The code the function runs is also referred to as the function's body. Here's an example of a custom function named hello that prints the string hello world to the terminal. To run the function, you need to call it with its name followed by a pair of parentheses, hello. Notice the indentation before print hello world. The level of indentation defines a code block in Python, which is a group of statements that belong together. While other programming languages use characters like curly braces to define code blocks and just use indentation for readability, in Python, code blocks are determined by indentation. Though you can use 2 or 4 spaces to determine each level of indentation, the Python style guide recommends using 4 spaces. Blocks are also found in loops and conditionals, which you'll learn about in future lessons. Keep them out of here, please. Here's another simple function that prints the sum of 2 numbers to the terminal. This is the part that always messes me up. You can see that our function calculate_sum has a and b in its parentheses separated by a comma. Those are called parameters. Think of parameters as placeholder variables that act as slots for the values you pass into functions when you call them. Okay. To use the parameters, you have to pass in arguments. Arguments are the values you pass to a function when you call it. Here's how to call the calculate_sum function to sum together the numbers 3 and 1. Okay. Learning C# for work-related things simultaneously really fun, and why I now get most of why our devs are alcoholics. I love when something comes with a config file that uses Lua for configuration. Define complement Mae, print you're doing so well. Thanks. If you call the function without the correct number of arguments, you'll get a type error. I think I once wrote a poem in code and I stopped midway through and the poem just became how it was really dumb. Anyway. Isn't C# used a lot for games? I don't know. Calculate sum. Okay, so it needs the 2 positional arguments, aka what we're going to plug into the function. Functions also use a special return keyword to exit the function and return a value. If you don't explicitly use return, Python will return none by default. Okay. You can see that the calculate_sum function prints the sum of a and b, but it doesn't return anything explicitly. So when we assign its results to my_sum, the value is actually none. To fix that, you can use the return keyword to send back the result. Okay. Okay. What is the default return value of a function in Python? None. What is the term for a placeholder variable in a function parameter? What keyword is used to define a custom function define? She's still cracked, dude. It's crazy. I don't want to become a supporter. Anyway, C++ and C# are used for games a lot. Unity scripts exclusively in C# and pretty much everything supports it except O3DE for some reason. Weird. I'm one of the people that needs it free. I can't pay. Ask me later. Okay, what is scope in Python and how does it work? That's what I used it for mostly. But you apparently can use it in Python. I'm in cybersecurity too. In Python, scope determines the point at which you can access a variable. It's what controls the lifetime of a variable and how it is resolved in different parts of the code. To correctly determine scope, Python follows the LEGB rule, which stands for the following: local scope, enclosing scope, global scope, and built-in scope. I've never heard this stuff. I've literally never heard this stuff, and I feel like I've been banging my head against Python for a while. Ugh. Oh, it's PIMDOS. It's PIMDOS for Python variables. That makes sense. Okay, got it. So local scope is variables defined in functions or classes. Variables, enclosing scope, variables defined in enclosing or nested functions. Global scope, which is variables defined at the top level of the module or file, and built-in scope, which is reserved names in Python for predefined functions, modules, keywords, and objects. So it starts with built-in scope, I'd assume, being the highest order, global scope being the second, enclosing being the third, and local being the lowest. Am I PIMDOSing correctly? Can anyone give me a yes, thumbs up, thumbs down on that one? It'll try from the... Oh, so the PIMDOS is the other direction. Interesting. Okay. Okay. Python uses the LEGB rule to resolve the scope of the variables in your program. We'll dive into each of these rules so you get a better understanding of the process. Local scope means that a variable declared inside a function or class can only be accessed within that function or class. Here's an example. Okay, so the local scope means there is a box, and within that box, the variable in there can only be accessed within that box. Okay. In this case, the myfunc function has its own scope which cannot be accessed from outside the function. Calling myfunc will output 10, but printing my variable outside the function will lead to name error. I understand. Then we have another box in that is larger than that box. Enclosing scope means that it's a function that's nested inside another function that can access variables of the function it's nested within. Okay. So, for example, define outer function. The message is hello there. Define inner function, print message. So the inner function can access the variable created in the outer function. So it's able to look outside because it's nested within here. Even though technically there is a smaller box inside of that box, it can look into the box above it. And then inner function can freely access the message variable defined in the outer function. However, note that that outer functions cannot access variables defined within nested functions. So the outer function cannot access res. Got it. Except for C function pointers, they are crazy. And JavaScript and its hoisted declarations, they're also crazy. Void? That's because res is locally scoped to inner function. Also notice that outer function tries to print res before inner function is called. Right, because order of operations, we've already run this by the time we're running this, which is why it can't access what's inside this box, because this box has already looked at itself and said, okay, I'm done, and there was nothing here. But then it runs this one and it goes, yeah, but I defined that. And then this guy's like, yeah, but you didn't define it before me, so screw you. Okay, understood. One solution is to initialize res as an empty string in the enclosing scope, which is within outer function. Then, within inner function, make res a non-local variable with a non-local keyword. Okay. Global scope refers to variables. Like, I get this, but like, they tell me this stuff and then I'm like, what do you do with that? Welcome on in, Hyperbagel. What a cool name. I'm sorry, I'm currently fist fighting Python. It happens, you know? Global scope refers to variables that are declared outside any function or class, which can be accessed from anywhere in the program. Here, my variable can be accessed anywhere. I've used global scope functions. It's teaching you bad habits. You should not modify something outside your function scope, so you should do nothing with that. Great, incredible. I've used global scope functions before. I feel pretty comfortable with that. Within Python before, specifically within pandas. Normally, when I'm using global scope variables for are defining paths for things in pandas. So like that's what I'm used to, is defining like, this is the path that I want you to go, this is the CSV file that I want you to access. And so that's usually a global variable for me. You can use the global keyword to modify a global variable. I don't think I'd want to do that outside of the global variable, but sure. Finally, built-in scope refers to all of Python's built-in functions, modules, keywords, and are available anywhere in your program. Understood. What is the rule Python follows to determine the scope of a variable? LEGB. What does the non-local keyword do? Allows modifying a variable from an enclosing function. Which keyword can you use to modify a global variable in Python? Global. Oh, she's still so correct. It's crazy. What's so wild to me is that I think I'm really good at learning stuff, but I'm pretty bad at retaining it, you know? In a perfect world, all of your functions should be values in, values out, and not modify extraneous variables. That's how you cause the most confusing bugs, where something somewhere else in your code changed something you're relying on somewhere unrelated. Yeah, that seems like bad practice to me. Like, if I'm gonna define a variable to be one thing, it should be that one thing always. Because otherwise, why am I defining a variable in the first place? Like, what? You're literally defining a just make a new variable, brother. Preferably not even internal ones, but that's debatable. Good to know. It's always good to know what you're debating on. Good. Join the functional side. Nothing mutates ever. I don't know what battle I'm signing up for. Ugh. Okay. I think now is a good place to end for today. I've been going for 4 hours, largely about things slightly related to Python, but you know, Oh, thank you for the follow, Star. Glad to have you here today. And thank you, Princess. We're gonna raid into... Let's see. Who's on? Tomorrow we'll be back playing RimWorld. I need to buy it and download and load it and all that stuff. But I'm very excited to get to play it finally. So, super stoked on it. Yeah. I've never gotten to play RimWorld, so I think it'll be a really good time. I think... I think we're gonna raid into BFC. I definitely will. I'll do my best to commit many crimes. But we'll be back tomorrow, 2 p.m. CST. We're gonna raid Big Fat Celestial or Jamie. He's currently a face streamer, but he's gonna become a VTuber eventually, so yeah. Thank you guys for hanging out with me, and I'm glad we got to meet a bunch of new people. I assume it's because I was doing something new and interesting and weird. We'll probably pick back up on Python next week. So, yeah. Rogue, I see you've been dual streaming. But yeah. So, tomorrow, 2 p.m. CST, RimWorld. It's been a joy getting to learn with you guys. I've had a lot of fun today. I'm glad I got to share my request for comment love with you all as well. So, bye! RimWorld tomorrow! Have a great day! Go give Jamie lots of love for me! Bye bye bye!